ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। ॐ वृषभं च शनीनां विश्वरूपमदाभ्यं बृहस्पतिं वरेण्यम् ॐ तद्विष्णोः परमं पदं सदा पश्यन्ति सूरयः दिवीव चक्षुराततम्। ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं ज्योतिर्ब्राह्माय नमः। Everyone say Hare Ramakrishna 3 times. Om Hare Ramakrishna, Hare Ramakrishna, Hare Ramakrishna. Om Parasaraya Namaha 3 times. Om Parasaraya Namaha, Om Parasaraya Namaha, Om Parasaraya Namaha. Om Ghanish Surya Aditya Om. So we are in chapter 34, verse 20,
verse 19.
Verse 19. So just take this. Okay.
Earlier we used to say Pam Parasaraya.
That also you can. So you said 19, right? Okay. So before that, in 18, Maitreya asked for people born in various rising signs, which planets are Yogarkas, which planets are auspicious, which planets are inauspicious, please tell me. So, are you sure?
That's what we got.
Yeah, actually that's right. We were about to go through the list. Okay, so we'll go through the list. Yatha prashtam tvaya vipra tathodaharanam bruve रंध्रे क्षत्रे विभूपुत्रो भवेत् शुभ सहायवान् मंदसौम्य सिद्धाः पापा शुभो गुरुदिवाकरो न शुभं योग मात्रेण प्रवेच्छनि जीवयोः यथा पृष्टं त्वया विप्रा ओ ब्राह्मण how the way you have asked tathodaharanam bruve, like that I will give examples. The way you asked I will explain the examples, specific examples. Randhe Chatvepi Bhuputraha. Randhe Chatvepi means Randhe Chatva means Lordship over Randha. Randha means 8th house. House of vulnerability. 8th house. Randha means whole or vulnerability. So Randhe Chatvepi, despite ownership of the 8th house, Bhuputraha means Mars, son of earth. Bhumi, sun. So Mars. Bhavet Shubha Sahayavan. Bhavet Shubha Sahayavan. He becomes auspicious planet, auspicious helper planet he becomes. For what? It will come at the end basically. He will say 4 verses and at the end he will say all this is for Mesh Lagna. So he is explaining how various planets behave for Mesh Lagna, for Aries Lagna. Despite the 8th house ownership, because he is also the Lagna Lord, which is a trine as well as quadrant, Mars is a benefic planet. Manda Saumya Siddhah Papaha, Manda Saumya Siddhah Papaha, Manda Saumya Siddhah Papaha. Manda means Saturn. Saumya means Soma's son. Saumya, one meaning of Saumya is one who is like Suma, one who is tender, gentle. So Saumya can mean gentle, huh? Saumya is not moon. Saumya can either mean benefic planets, gentle planets. Saumya is basically Suma like Suma is Saumya. So it can be general benefic planets who are very tender, very gentle planets, natural benefic, or Soma's son is Saumya. The son of Soma, Saumya. Somasya apatyam puman Saumyaha. So it can also mean moon son, which is Mercury. So here, because he is giving specific planets, it's obviously not a natural benefic. So Manda, Saumya, Sitaha. Saturn, Saumya is Mercury. Sitaha means Sita literally means the one who is white, the white one. It could mean moon also, but obviously he is talking about Saturn, Venus here. Usually Sita is used for Venus. Venus is considered supposed to be very white. So Randhe Manda Swami Sita Papa. They are malefic planets. They are functional malefics. Why is that the case? Why is Manda? Because he owns a quadrant, 10th house and 11th house. Quadrant is neutral, basically. 11th house is malefic. 3, 6, 11 are malefic, right? 3, 6, 7 are malefic. So Saturn is functional malefic. So Mercury, why is he malefic? Of course, he owns 3 and 6. He is the worst malefic actually, because he owns both malefic houses. One thing is, even though we are used to looking at planets as functional malefic, functional neutral. Basically 3 categories. If you really study the previous verses and the way Parasara treated it, it seems clear that he is not just talking about a functional malefic, functional neutral. A 3-way classification. He basically, even though he doesn't give a formula, it is almost as though he is saying there is a degree of maleficence and beneficence. So, compared to Saturn, Mercury will be more of a malefic. Because if you go to the beginning, what he said was, Kendrajvaraya Somjan Adishanti Shubham Palam, Kura Naiva Shubham Kuryuhu, Subhadasya Trikonapaha. The very first verse of this chapter, second verse of this chapter. So he said, trine lords are always benefic, they do good. And 3, 6, 11 lords always do bad. 2 and 8 are, 2, 8, 12 are neutral. Now, as far as the quadrant lords are concerned, 4, 7, 11, 4, 7, 10. He said, even though the planet may be a good planet, benefic planet naturally, it may not necessarily show benefic results. Even if a planet is malefic, it may not necessarily give malefic results. So he is not saying they are neutral or anything. He is just saying, even malefic planets won't really give fully benefic results. Even malefic planets won't fully give malefic results. So what he is suggesting is, there is a variation, but exactly how much is not quantifying there. So the bottom line is, the ownership of the 10th house per se is not that bad for Saturn. It doesn't make him a great malefic, but 11th does. So it's one approximately neutral house, one malefic house. Whereas Mercury owns both malefic houses. So Mercury is a worse malefic. And why is Saturn? Venus?
2nd and 7th.
He owns 2nd and 7th house. So 7th house being a benefic planet owning a quadrant, he doesn't give benefic results. And 2nd house is a neutral house. So overall he is neutral to slightly malefic. So even though he is saying Papa for Venus, he is saying that Venus is a malefic planet, not a neutral planet. He is not saying Sama, which means ownership of a quadrant, because 2 is neutral, he basically said earlier. So ownership of a quadrant can be malefic for a benefic planet.
So in this case, the order would be Mercury rank malefic,
Yes.
then comes Venus and then comes Saturn. Because Saturn... Saturn is the...
Mercury is the worst malefic. Saturn is, Venus is the most malefic. Even though he is malefic, the least malefic is Venus. Most malefic is Mercury. Saturn is in between.
I thought even though Saturn was the lord of 10th house, because he is natural malefic, he will not really do any male.
He will not do that much bad. He may still do bad. So he is, both Venus and Saturn, on account of ownership of the 7th and 10th houses, are around neutral basically. Maybe a little more, little less. It's very unclear from what Parasara said. But the bottom line is, the other house owned by Venus is 2nd house, the other house owned by Saturn is malefic house, 11th house. So Saturn is clearly more malefic than Venus. And without any doubt, Mercury is the worst malefic for this lagna. Okay. Randhe Chatve Shubhau Guru Divakarau. Sun and Jupiter. Jupiter and Divakara means Sun. Jupiter and Sun are benefic planets, right? Sun is the 5th lord. Jupiter, he is the 9th lord and also 12th lord. 12th is not bad, it's a neutral house. And 9th house, it's a benefic house. So both of them are benefic planets. And out of them, because of the 12th house ownership, Jupiter is slightly worse than Sun. Sun is the better malefic out of the two. Okay?
Mars, Sun and Jupiter.
Yeah, Sun is more benefic than Jupiter for this lagna. So what he said earlier was, Sri Shadayadipa Sarve Graha Phala Smutaha. 3, 6, 7 are malefic. Ved Vidya Randhejaha Sahajaryat Phalapradaha. So what he said is, the lords of the 2nd, 8th and 12th houses. 2nd, 8th and 12th. They show their results based on who they are with, and also based on the other house owned by them. So he didn't really say they are neutral houses. What he said is, they don't really decide things much. It is decided based on the other house owned, and moreover, it depends on who they are with. So in this case, Jupiter owns 9th and 12th, right? So basically you decide from the 9th house and also based on who Jupiter is with. So if the Jupiter is with a bad planet, he may actually have some maleficence because of the 12th house ownership. So that is why I say Sun is a clear benefic. Jupiter, he is benefic, but there is some uncertainty to the degree of beneficence.
So just the association with planets, or
yeah, Sahajarya Phalaprada, that was Parasara. And the other house. You have to combine who they are with and what is the other house they want. So the other house he wants is 9th house. So already there is a good factor. So unless he is really afflicted with by bad planets, he will be a benefic. And even then he may be a benefic, but a lesser benefic. On the other hand, Sun, irrespective of where he is, who he is with, he is a clear benefic for Aries Lagna. Nasubham yoga matrena prabhavechhani jivayoho. Nasubham yoga matrena prabhavechhani jivayoho. Okay. Now he is saying, Nasubham yoga matrena prabhavechhani jivayoho. If Saturn and Jupiter are together, Saturn and Jupiter are having a yoga. It's basically the 9th and 10th Lord yoga, right? Raj yoga, Dharma Karmadhati yoga. But he's saying, if they are yoga matrena means by merely being together, na shubham. Just because they are together, they won't necessarily give great results. So for Aries Lagna people, the combination of Saturn and Jupiter, just because they are together doesn't necessarily mean it's a good yoga. Paratantriyena jivasya papakarmapi nishchitam shukra sakshanni hantasyan marakatvena lakshitah. Okay, paratantriyena jivasya papakarmapi nishchitam means paratantriyena jivasya. Jivasya means of Jupiter. Paratantriyena means by paratantra, basically by the action of somebody else. In other words, if Jupiter is affected by somebody else, then what is the result? Papa karma nishchitam. He can give papa. This is what I was saying earlier. Because he also owns the 12th house. Lots of 2, 8 and 12. They are capable of being benefics or malefics based on who they associate with. Who has the strongest influence on them. So Jupiter, even though he owns the 9th house, because he is the 12th Lord, paratantrena jivasya papa karma nishchitam. So by association with malefics, by affliction of malefics, if he is together with malefics or aspected by malefics, etc., if such influence is there, that Jupiter may create problems. He may become malefic also.
And hence he is saying that Saturn and Jupiter together would not.
Perhaps. That is basically a direction that we can make. We can, after seeing a few more examples, we can see if the direction is right or not. But irrespective of the reason why, see the thing is, Jupiter, whether he is a malefic or not, Saturn is anyway a malefic. So one malefic and one benefic connection, Rajoga. So it's not really that great a Rajoga. Moreover, even Jupiter may be malefic in certain cases. That's what he is explaining. Perhaps. Shukra sakshan nihantasyan marakatvena lakshitah. Shukra sakshan nihanta. Venus is sakshat means he is directly, he is the nihanta means the biggest marka. He is the marka, he is the killer. Why? He wants the 2nd and 7th houses. Marka houses are 2 and 7.
Right.
The houses of longevity are 3 and 8. The houses of killing are 2 and 7. So he wants both the killer houses. So he is a clear marka. So that's why he says sakshat nihanta. He is clearly a killer. Marakatven lakshitah. He is clearly, he has clear signs of being a marka. So basically he is a clear marka, he is saying. Mandadayopi hantaro bhaveyuh papino grahah mesha lagnodbhavasyaivam phalam veyam dvijottama. Mandadayopi hantarah bhaveyuh papino grahah. Mandadayopi hantaro bhaveyuh. Even Saturn, etc. can become hantaraha, can become killers, papino grahaha, malefic planets. The previously mentioned malefic planets such as
Mercury,
Saturn, etc. Yeah, Mercury, Saturn. They can also become killers when He doesn't say. Mesha Lagnod Bhavasyaivam Phalam Gneyam Jyotam, like this. For Mesha Lagna born person, you see the results. So he's saying Saturn, etc. can also become male fixed. When? He didn't mention. But if you correlate with the other chapter on Markas, there he says, second and seventh Lord is a Marka, and malefic planets associating with second and seventh house are Markas. So, if either with the second house, Taurus or Libra or even Venus, if one of those three factors, if Saturn or Mercury is associated, they also become Markas. And here he is clearly saying, when you see the Markatva, you see the functional nature, not inherent nature. Some people say Mars is in the second house, he is a Marka. Not necessarily. If Mars is a benefit for that Lagna, by being in the second house, he may or may not be Marka. On the other hand, for Math Lagna people, if Mercury is in the second house, he can become Marka. Because he is a malefic and he is in the second house of that. These are the results for Math Lagna. Now let us go to Vrishabha Lagna. So actually he didn't finish. No, he finished. Now he is going to Vrishabha Lagna. Jiva Shukrayan Davahpapaha Subhau Shani Divakarau Raja Yoga Kara Saurir Buddha Svalpa Subhapradaha Jivadayo Kujasyapi Santi Maraka Lakshanaha Vrishabha Bhavasyaivam Phalan Yuhyani Suribhi. Okay. Vrishabha Bhavasyaivam. For a person born in Vrishabha Lagna, Taurus Lagna, Phalan Yuhyani Suribhi. By learned people, result should be Uhyani means imagine like this. Result should be imagined based on these criteria. What are the criteria? Jiva Shukra Indavah Papaha. Jiva Shukra Indavah. Jiva, Jupiter, Shukra, Venus, Indu, Indavaha. Indu means moon. So Jupiter, Venus and moon are the Papagrahas. Why? Jupiter was the 11th house, Venus was the 6th house, and moon was 3rd house. 3, 6, 7 lords specially mentioned. The only tricky part is Venus. He is the Lagna Lord. So despite being the Lagna Lord, because Lagna is a quadrant as well as a trine. So despite being the Lagna Lord, even though it's a trine, it's also a quadrant. So you can take him as quadrant Lord or trine Lord. On top of it, he clearly owns 6th house, which is a male figure. Moreover, that is his Mula Trikona. So perhaps weight is being given to that. So he's not saying he's a neutral planet. He's saying he's a malefic planet despite being Lagna Lord. So he gives troubles to the person. So, and moon is 3rd Lord, Jupiter is 11th Lord, and the other house owned by Jupiter is 8th. 8th is neutral. So he owns 8th. Based on 8th, you can't say much. You have to go with who he is with, which planet he is associated with, and what is the other house owned. Other house owned is 11th, malefic house. So he is a malefic. However, suppose Jupiter is with benefic planets. Suppose he is with Mercury and Saturn, let us say. Then he is with other benefic planets. Then, on account of his ownership of 8th house, he can be a benefic also. Ownership of 2nd, 8th and 12th, if you strictly forget about everything else everybody says today, all other texts say, go by what Parasara said. On account of the ownership of the 8th house, Jupiter can become benefic also for this. So even though he owns the 11th house, the 8th house can turn into benefic ownership. So overall it can balance out. He can be a neutral planet also. So out of these planets, Moon is the worst malefic. Right? Moon is the worst malefic, then Venus and then Jupiter. Moon is the worst malefic, then Jupiter. Venus is the least malefic of all the planets. Now, Shubho Shani Divakara, there is no doubt in that. Divakara, actually there is doubt. We will see why. Divakara is Sun. So, Sun and Saturn are benefics he is saying. He is not saying Mercury. So, we will see. We will see why. So, he is saying Saturn and Sun are benefic planets for Vrishabha Lagna. Why?
Because 4th and 9th. 4th is...
Sun owns the 4th house.
But 4th is...
Kendra.
But it doesn't really decide anything yet.
Huh?
4th house...
No. That's not what we said. We said it doesn't decide anything for 2, 8 and 12.
For the 4th house, what we said was if it is a natural namesake, the maleficency would would be reduced.
No, that's not what we said. What Parasara said is, forget about whatever we said. What Parasara said is, in the case of Kendra ownership, a natural benefic planet did not give benefic results. A natural malefic planet did not give natural malefic results. So he's not really saying much. A natural malefic did not give malefic means it may be neutral or it may be benefic also. He's not saying exactly what it will be and why that is so.
But he's defining this one though.
Yeah, so we'll go through the examples and then we have to go back and understand what he meant. Because he doesn't say. On the other hand, for 2, 8 and 12 what you said is right. He says that is decided based on the other house and other planets. That the other influences. So, Kendras are different. In the case of Kendra, just on the basis of that ownership you can say something. But what you say is dependent on the case to case. So here, for Vrishapalagna, he is saying Sun is a benefic. So what is the criterion he used and why he is doing this, we don't fully understand. We will see some more examples and then let's try to reconcile at the end. So, Saturn there is no question. Saturn is the 9th and 10th lord. 10th is again, is either neutral or benefic because he is a natural malefic. He is not necessarily malefic. That's all we can say. What process? But 9th is one. 9th is clearly benefic. So overall Saturn is a benefic planet. So Saturn makes sense and Sun, why he is a benefic we don't understand. But he owns a quadrant, 4th house. So he is not necessarily a malefic. And he is grouped as a benefic planet here. Now, the interesting thing is Raja Yoga whereas Saurihi. Sauri gives Rajoga. Rajoga means Yokaraka basically. Because he owns a quadrant and a trine. If the same planet owns a quadrant and a trine, he gives Rajoga. Why? Well, 3, 6, 11 are the house of struggle. Kendras are not the house of struggle but the house of effort. Effort and struggle are different. Struggle is under duress. Effort is you are doing something. So quadrants are the house of effort. 3, 6, 11 are the house of struggle. And because you have such passion, you want to get some gain, you want to overcome enemies, you have a determination. So there is extra passion there. So there is a struggle in the case of, passionate struggle in the case of 3, 6, 7. Quadrants are effort. Trines are blessings, things that come easily. They are the blessings, fruits of previous good karma. So, if a planet owns a quadrant, he will give you effort. That may or may not be good, depending on who the planet is, what is the nature of the planet, what is the nature of your nature. The effort given by the planet may do good to you or it may do bad to you. It may mean you are struggling or it may mean you are cruising, you are enjoying it. It may mean both, depending on the planet and depending on the lagna. But that is in the case of quadrants. But in the case of trines, it's a blessing. The planet shows a clear blessing. So if the same planet is controlling both effort and blessing, that means you are engaged in efforts and blessings also come. The same planet is in charge of both. So blessings will come in the effort. So this effort is not likely to be a wasted effort or an effort where you are struggling. It's a fruitful effort. It's an effort where nice things will easily come. So that combination of effort and blessing is a very good thing. So that's Yokaraka. So Saturn owns 9th and 10th houses, he is a Yokaraka. But the interesting thing is, this is what I said interesting, Buddha Svalpa Shubhapradaha. Mercury is limitedly auspicious, limitedly benefic. So see, this is contrary to what people today take in standard books. If you go through Parasara carefully, the basic thing about benefics and malefics, there is some difference from the standard understanding. So for Taurus Lagna, Mercury he is benefic but not so benefic compared to other planets he mentions. Saturn and Sun, he said clear benefics. For Mercury, he said benefic but not that benefic. He is okay. Why? Because even though he owns the 5th house, and that is his Mula Trikona, despite that, he also owns the 2nd house.
The 2nd house, we thought that we cannot judge really anything with the
2nd house is a neutral house. Right. So the thing is, depending on who he is with, and depending on
the other house also.
Other house is benefic. So based on it, he is benefic. One house is benefic house, other house is go by other factors house basically. A house that doesn't vote, that will defer you to some other voters. So 5th house is saying benefic. Still he is not saying benefic, he is saying average benefic because the logic is the influences on Mercury basically have to be taken into account apart from the other house. The thing is, if it is a planet like Jupiter or Venus or Saturn, the influences on them may be muted to some extent. They are basically strong. Like if Jupiter, just because Jupiter is with Saturn, he doesn't have to oblige Saturn. Just because Sun is with, let's say, Venus, Sun doesn't have to be obliged to be influenced by Venus. But Mercury, any influence on him, somebody is watching, aspecting him, somebody is with him, he will be obliged to yield to their desires. That is basically why he is saying Alpa Shubhapradaha. So the thing is, the lesson here, the hidden lesson here is, the results of the yoga and aspects given by planets are not the same for all planets. Not everybody is, just because, see, let's say you spend a few days with me. Suppose you come to my house and you live in my house and you see, early morning you get up, see Homam with me, and then we discuss, suppose I don't have work, we discuss various things, and then you spend a month with me and then you go. Will you be influenced by me? You may or may not be. One person may be, by spending some time with me, he may be influenced and he may start doing Homam, meditation, etc. Another person may just resist it, he may watch and then he may go. So, not everybody is influenced by association with somebody in the same way. Similarly, different planets, depending on who they are associating with, where they are associating, the actual result of the association may be different. But the thumb rule is, Mercury is very susceptible. He is basically somebody who likes to listen to anybody. That is why even his inherent nature is undefined. It is based on who he is with. So this Mercury is more amenable. So second house ownership, based on it, deciding his benefit or malefic nature based on the influences, that actually dominates in the case of Mercury compared to other planets. So despite the fifth house ownership, that may make him malefic. So that is why he is saying he is Alpa Shubhapradaha. He is benefic but not so benefic, because there may be some other influences which may become strong. Jivadayo kujaskyapi santi marakalakshanaha. Jivadayaha kujaskyapi santi marakalakshanaha. Jivadayaha means, what he means is Jupiter, etc., which means the malefics, the functional malefics, who are mentioned like Jiva, Shukra, Indavaha, Venus, Jupiter and Moon. If they are associated with the Marga houses, the functional malefics, they become killers. And the second, he is dividing into two groups, Jivadayaha, the other is Kujaskyapi. Why Kuja? Because he is the seventh lord. Seventh lord is a Marka, no matter what. So seventh lord is a Marka, and Jivadayaha, Jupiter, etc., functional malefics, they may become Markas if they are restricting the second or seventh house or their lords. Vrishalagnoodbhavasya phalan yuhyani suribhi, like I said earlier, like this you can imagine the results for Vrishalagna people. Now we'll do Mithalagna. Yes?
When you have a particular planet influencing a particular lagna,
yeah,
the amount of benefitness and benefitness, would it be also dependent on the relationship between the planets who owns the lagna and the relationship and the planet?
Yes. That will also matter. Beneficence means how good the planet wants to do or how much bad the planet wants to do. And other factors also come into play. But he is giving the static factors here. Okay. The next one. Now, Mithun Lagna. Bhauma Jivarunah Papaha Yeka Yeva Kavi Shubhaha Shanaishcharena Jivasya Yogo Meshabhavo Yatha Shashi Mukhya Nihantaso Sahajaryatya Pakadaha Dvandva Lagnodbhavasya Evam Phalan Yuhyani Panditaihi Dvandva Lagnodbhavasya Evam Phalani Uhyani Panditaihi. Dvandva Lagna means jewel, basically Mithuna, couple, a couple sign, which means Mithuna. Mithuna means couple. So for Mithuna Lagna people, Gemini born people, Phalan Yuhyani Panditaihi. By scholars, this should be imagined like this. Bhauma Jivarunaha Papaha. Mars, Bhauma means Bhumi's sun, Mars. Jiva means Jupiter. Aruna means the Aruna color one, the red one, sun. So, Mars, Jupiter and Sun are the functional malefics. Why? Mars is very clear, 6th and 11th houses. He owns both of them. So, he is a pakka, clear malefic. Now, what about Aruna, Sun? He is the third lord. He is also a clear malefic. both Sun and Mars are clear malefics. What about Jupiter?
7 and 10.
He owns 7th and 10th houses. He owns both the quadrants. So, in the case of quadrants, what he said is even benefics, they are not so benefic. So the thing is, in the case of Jupiter, because he owns two such signs, he is not just a neutral planet, but he is a malefic planet. So Jupiter is a malefic planet. Eka eva Kavishvaha. The only one benefic is Kavi, the poet. Who is the poet among planets? Venus. Venus is the poet. So only Venus is the benefic planet. Why? Because he owns the 5th house and 12th house. 5th and 12th houses are owned by Venus. Now, on account of the ownership of 12th house, depending on who he is with, the results can be modified. But the thing is, also the other house will come into play. Other house is 5th. So he is a benefit. And depending on how much the other influences work, he may get that beneficence may reduce a little bit. But he is the only benefit for this sign. शनैश्चरेण जीवस्य योगो मेषभवो यथा शनैश्चरेण जीवस्य योगो मेषभवो यथा शनैश्चरेण जीवस्य योगो मेषभवो यथा शनैश्चरेण जीवस्य means Saturn and Jupiter combination yoga मेषभव यथा. Just like in the case of Aries, basically even though they are 9th and 10th lords, their yoga is not really that auspicious. It's not really powerful. Why? Because both of them are malefics. So you are talking about a yoga between malefic planets. Actually, we didn't cover Saturn. He didn't mention Saturn. Okay, Saturn. What about Saturn? He owns the 8th and 9th houses. So is he a benefic or malefic? When he mentioned benefics and malefics, he didn't mention Saturn. In the malefics, he mentioned only Mars, Sun and Jupiter. In the benefics, he mentioned he specifically said only Venus is benefic. So Saturn he is neutral. He is neither benefic nor malefic because he owns the 9th house, but also he owns the 8th house. When he owns the 8th house, you go by the other house, which is 9th house, and you go by who he is with. So the influences on Saturn, etc. So the lesson is, a natural malefic like Saturn, even if he is with a benefic planet, he may or may not be able to take that benefic, the nature of the benefic planet. On the other hand, if there is a malefic influence on him, he may be able to take that malefic, absorb that better. So Saturn is not as good in absorbing benefic influences. When I say benefic, malefic here, what you have to remember is, benefic is blessed, malefic is struggle. And Saturn is the one who loves struggle. He doesn't want people to be so easily blessed. He wants them to struggle a little bit and learn the value of struggle. So, even though on account of the ownership of the 8th house, he may become benefic. If he associates with benefic planets, that influence is not really that good on Saturn. So, overall, 8th house ownership is unlikely to produce beneficence for him. It will either produce maleficence or remain neutral. So, overall, Saturn is a neutral planet. He is neither mentioned as a benefic nor as a malefic. In any case, even though he is neutral, Jupiter is a clear malefic. So their yoga is not really that powerful. It's not great. It's okay. Shati mukhya nihantasau sahajaryacha pagadaha. Shati mukhya nihantasau sahajaryacha pagadaha. Okay. Says moon is mukhya nihantasau. Means he is the main killer. Why? He owns the 2nd house. Jupiter owns the 7th house. Why is he not the main killer? Well, he also owns the 10th house. 10th house is not the house of longevity, but 10th house is the house of the work you do.
11th.
Huh? Jupiter. He owns the 10th house.
10th house.
7th and 10th houses. So, 10th house is the house of work you do. And in order to do the work, you have to be alive. So, the thing is, even though 10th house is not the house of longevity, a strong 10th house will actually is a good factor for good longevity. So, being the 10th lord, Jupiter is unlikely to be a killer, even though he owns the 7th house. On the other hand, Moon is a 2nd lord, so he is a clear killer. So, Moon is the main killer, and by the way, Sahajaryacha Bhavakadaha. He gives his result based on association. Based on who he is with, he will give the results. Moon. So, he is neither a benefic nor a malefic, but at the same time, he is not neutral. He gives results based on the association. because he is the second lord. These are the results for Gemini Lagna people.
So if Moon and Jupiter combination exists here,
Yeah.
it might be bad for this Lagna.
Yeah, Moon Jupiter combination is not great. Moon is basically, Jupiter is a malefic. Because of Jupiter's influence, Moon becomes malefic then. So it's a yoga between two malefics. It's not a great Raj Yoga.
And that could actually bring death is what my question.
Yes, it can bring death. They are technically markers. Yes.
Yoga.
Yes. Yeah. But the thing is, Gajgesa Yoga, despite ownership, etc., Gajgesa Yoga is a static yoga of some kind of frame, some kind of reputation. So the thing is, maybe the person will have a famous death. He'll be famous in death or something like that is possible. But the bottom line is, they are clear killers. So Gajgesa Yoga is not a great yoga here. Then Moon Dasha, Jupiter Antardasha, Jupiter Dasha, Moon Antardasha, the person has to be careful. The next Lagna, Karka Lagna. So we'll do this and we'll stop. Bhargavendu sutau papau bhusu tejyendavah subhah Purna yoga karasvakshan mangalo mangalapradaha nihantarka sutorkastu sahajaryatthalapradaha Karka lagnodbhavasyavam phalam proktam manishibhi Karka lagnodbhavasyavam. A person born in the Karka Lagna, Cancer Lagna, phalam proktam manishibhi. Result is mentioned by great people. This is how result is mentioned by great people for Karka Lagna. So, what are the results? Bhargava Indu Sutau Papo. Bhargava Indu Sutau Papo. Bhargava Bhugusan, Venus. Indu Sutaha. Indu Sutau means
Mercury.
son of Hindu, moon, Mercury. So, Mercury and Venus are Papo. Malefics. Why? Mercury was the third house, Venus was the 11th house. So clearly both of them are markas. In the case of Mercury, apart from third house, malefic house, he wants the 12th house. So depending on the influence, he may become better. In the case of Venus, he wants 4th house and 11th house.
In this case, the chance of Mercury being good is more because of its flexible nature. And
I would say so, yes. In the case of Venus, though, he wants 4th and 11th houses. 4th house, a quadrant. Quadrant ownership for a benefic is not so beneficial. On the other hand, he wants the 11th house. So he is a malefic planet. And Mercury is also malefic, but there is a chance of redemption. Bhusuta Ijya Subhaha. Bhusuta Ijya Indavaha. Bhusuta Ijya Indavaha means, Bhusuta means son of Mother Earth, Mars. Ijya means Jupiter. Indu means Moon. So Moon, Jupiter and Mars. Moon, Mars, Jupiter. They are benefics. Why? Moon being because he is Lagna Lord, a trine Lord. Mars because he is the 5th Lord. Even though he wants the 10th house also, which is a quadrant. Quadrant ownership is not bad for malefics. And on the other hand, he is owning the 5th house. So he is a benefic. So Mars is a benefic, Moon is a benefic. Why is Jupiter a benefic? He wants the 6th and 9th houses. He wants the 6th and 9th houses. Why is he a benefic then?
9th house will make something.
So,
It should be neutral actually. 6th is bad and
yeah, 6th is bad and 9th. Huh?
Degree of benefit.
Yeah, bottom line is, he seems to think that if a planet wants the 9th house is a very powerful trine. So if the planet wants 9th house, it can offset something else. So and moreover, Jupiter is a friend of Moon. So even though he is 6th Lord, he is also the 9th Lord and he is a friend of Lagna Lord Moon. So he will tend to be good to Karka Lagna. So he is overall, so here the clue is, even though 6 and 9 may balance each other and we may say neutral, because he didn't say neutral, he said benefic. There is some degree of importance.
For the previous Lagna, 8th and 9th lordship is given to Saturn.
Right.
But here he did not consider the 9th lordship to be great.
Right, exactly.
And
So in the previous one, Saturn owned 8th and 9th houses. And 8th is not even a malefic house, it's a neutral house. Right? Still, Saturn was considered to be
Neutral.
Overall, Saturn was considered to be neutral. Here, in the case of Jupiter, he is basically saying he is a benefic. So, even though he wants the 6th house, he is basically making the person benefic. Can you guess why?
relation?
One thing is relationship, but in the other case also Mercury and Saturn are friends. But not as good friends as Moon and Jupiter. But that's not the thing. There's one more thing.
The amount of struggles that Jupiter can give you would be less because he is normally a sound.
He is a natural transit planet. Sixth house is the house of struggle. Not every sixth lord will give you a lot of trouble. Basically, suppose you go for, let's say, practice. Suppose you are a cricketer. Suppose every day morning you have to show up for practice and you have to run, you have to go to the gym, exercise, throw balls, catch balls, you do a lot of, let's say 1 hour regime is there, practice is there every day. Now, is it a struggle? Not necessarily, it depends on who the coach is. If the coach is a nice guy, it won't be that much of course you still have to practice, but it will not be as much trouble. He will tolerate and the mood will be positive. Whereas if the coach is like, oh, you dropped that ball, pick it up, do it again, like that. If the coach is yelling at you and he is mean, then it will be a struggle. So like that, when a natural benefic owns the sixth house also, the struggle given by him is not really that bad. It's not that strong. On the other hand, if a natural benefic becomes the ninth lord, the blessings given by him are very nice. If somebody who is very sweet-natured wants to help you, he will help you very nicely. Compared to somebody like Saturn, who doesn't want to really, why give blessing? Let him struggle and learn. That is what Saturn will say. So if you tell him, give him some struggle and give him some blessing, he will say, yeah, struggle itself is a blessing, he will say. So bottom line is, the blessing he will be inclined to give is limited. So the bad things will they will dominate. In the case of a natural benefic like Jupiter, the good house he owns may dominate. So that's the lesson here. Moreover, he is a karaka for ninth house. That's the other factor. So he is owning one house for which he is a karaka directly. So that also matters. Just like in the case of 8th and 9th earlier, Saturn is a karaka for 8th house. So that is another factor. So the thing is, you have 2 projects that you have to take care of. But for one of them, you are also the project manager. You are the karaka. So you will basically put more focus on that project, your pet project. So the other project, even though you are in charge of that also, this is the one you are attached to. So that one may suffer. Similarly for Jupiter, 6th is not something he is attached to, but 9th, he is the project manager for that project of blessings. He is the one who is the significator of that house. Okay, that is the other clue. That fits for Saturn also, the previous one. Okay. Then, where are we? Bhusuta Ijja Indavaha. Hindu is moon, of course, Lagna Lord, we said, Mars, we said. Okay, we are done with the Shubhas. Purna Yoga Kara Sakshan Mangalo Mangala Pradaha. Purna Yoga Kara. Fully beneficial. Fully Yokara. He gives yoga. Sakshan Mangalo Mangala Pradaha. Mars he is clearly a Yokaraka. Why? He owns the 5th house and the 10th house. 10th house is a quadrant showing effort, and 5th house is a house showing blessing. So he is a Yokaraka. He gives good results. Nihanta Arkasutorkastu Sahajarya Phalapradaha. Nihanta Arkasutorkastu. Nihanta Arkasutaha Arkastu. Both Sun and Saturn. Arkasuta means son of sun. S-O-N son of S-U-N son. Saturn. And Sun himself. Arkastu means, and of course Sun also. So Saturn and of course Sun also are the malefics. Why? 2nd and 7th lords. Sahajarya Phalapradaha. Nihantarka Sutorkastu Sahajarya Phalapradaha. And Sun will be Sahajarya Phalapradaha. Sun will give results based on association. Because he is the 2nd lord. There is no other way to know. He doesn't own any other house. So you can't say based on that. You can't statically say. Parasara is giving static results wherever he can, but those are modifiable. You have to remember that. Wherever there is no static result possibility, because you only go by Sahajarya, he is clearly mentioning Sahajarya. So bottom line is, deciding the nature of certain planets for certain lagnas based on Sahajarya, based on the association, is a basic fundamental factor. It's not like an afterthought. It's a foundation factor. Unfortunately, this is not mentioned in most contemporary books. People ignore that. Basically, they give a static list for each lagna, they are done with it. So, for Karka lagna, Sun can be either benefic. Suppose Sun is with Jupiter or Sun is with Mars, he will be a benefic. Suppose Sun is with, let's say, Venus and aspected by Mercury, he will be a clear malefic. So, it's all up in the air in the case of Sun. So, with that, we will end the discussion on Parasara. We have to continue from verse 29 from Simha Lagna in the next class. Okay, so we'll see an example of a vehicular accident. So when did you have the accident? Actually, can you give me the data?
May 9th, 1983.
May
9th.
9, 1993.
1983.
Sorry, 1983. Sorry. May 9, 1983.
1:48 p.m.
1:48 p.m.
Srikakulam.
Male, Srikakulam. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The verse class we just any one of these verses is not covering Rahu and Ketu.
Yeah. Yes. Good question. Yeah.
Why, like by default, we should take them as anything?
Yeah. I think he mentioned earlier about them, based on who they are with, etc. We'll cover it in the next class. So for Rahu Ketu, he didn't take the ownership. Even though they own certain houses, the nature, functional nature of those planets is not from those houses, because those houses act as houses of Saturn and Mars. So it is decided based on who they are with, what are the influences on them.
Whichever lord they are with and which houses they are occupying.
Yeah, so that was mentioned earlier.
18 verses.
But in classified again, which one there?
Okay, how should I save it?
Satish.
Yeah. Oh, I actually have it already. One second, let me open it. Satish Jyotish class student. May 9, 1983, 13:48, Indian Standard Time, Srikakulam.
Yes, sir.
So I have it. So I already have it. Okay, so we are going to see a chart. The data is 1983 May 9, 1:48 p.m. Srikakulam, India, male. Srikakulam, India, 83 degrees 54 minutes east, 18 degrees 18 minutes north. So the event we have is, when was the accident?
October 12th.
October 12, 2010. So there was a vehicular accident on October 12, 2010. Car was total.
Yes.
And were you okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Except for some minor injuries.
Minor injuries. So the person had only minor injuries, no major injury, luckily, but the car was totaled. And this was on October 12, 2010. Does it show up in the chart? So were you able to see it in the chart or were you not?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But I was also going through examples and lessons, the previous lessons.
Yeah.
And I thought I could get some.
Yeah, sure. So let us see what is going on in the, were you looking at it from the natal chart or the previous chart?
The
Let's see the natal chart first, because something like this is a big event. It should show up in the natal chart also, right? So if you see the natal chart, so what is the dasha running right now? Ketu dasha is running right now. And what is the Antardasha running right now? See, the thing is, this may not show in the dasha, because this is not an event that is an important event in the entire 7 years of Ketu dasha, right? When you look back maybe 20 years later and reflect on these 7 years, you won't really think, oh, that's dasha when I had accident. So unlikely. Whereas Antardasha, if you see, which Antardasha was it? This is Rahu Antardasha. So Antardasha is basically a year Antardasha. So within this 1 year, this may be an important event. So let's look at Antardasha. Of course, we can go to Prachantar also, but 1 year window is enough. So let us look at Antardasha. So Ketu Rahu. Ketu Antardasha, Rahu. Ketu Mahadasha, Rahu Antardasha gave the result. As such, Ketu Rahu can show sudden events, etc. But apart from it, let's see if there is a chance here. Now, Shodashamsha is the chart for vehicles. Not vehicular accident, but vehicles. Yeah, Sukha, vehicles, etc. is from Shodashamsa. In the Shodashamsa, how are Rahu and Ketu? In the Shodashamsa, how are Rahu and Ketu?
Seventh house, right?
Are they in the 7th house?
You have to see the longitude.
If you look at the longitudes, they are actually in the 6th house. If you see the
From
right,
and then 6.
they are in the 6th house. Now, actually, let's do an exercise. How are we supposed to see the beneficence of Rahu and Ketu? What would we say earlier?
The whichever lords they are with,
They are with,
and which houses they are occupying, that
based on that they will give the results. So, any planets if they are with them, based on the houses owned by those planets, or the house they occupy. In this Shodashamsa, what house do they occupy?
8.
Occupy.
Occupy
7th house, right? Actually 7th house or 6th house, if you look at the longitudes.
Yes, 6th house.
Lagna in D16, Lagna is at 23 degree Cancer.
they are occupying
Rahu Ketu are at
the sixth house.
3 degree Capricorn. So they are way below the Lagna. So they are in the 6th house. So they are occupying the 6th house. So is 6th house Malefic or Benefic? Malefic house. So they are occupying Malefic house. So they are Malefic planets. Point number 1. Point number 2. Are they with any other planets? No. But when they are not with any other planets, you can also consider anybody aspecting them. So is anybody aspecting them closely? Mercury and Saturn are aspecting them, right?
Yep.
Is the aspect strong? If you look at the aspect evaluation in D16, if you look at the aspect on Rahu in D16, Moon has 78%. If you look at the aspect, Saturn has the highest aspect, 81%. Right? Mercury's aspect is actually limited. So, Saturn has the highest aspect. So, is Saturn a benefic or malefic? What are the houses owned by Saturn? 7th and 8th. So, he's a neutral planet. For Karkalgana we just finished, right? Saturn is a neutral planet. So, a neutral planet is aspecting. So, that makes them neutral. But this is aspect, this is not yoga, this is not conjunction. And the house owned by them house occupied by them is 6th house. So overall, Rahu and Ketu are malefic planets. Now, apart from it, if you actually look at the houses owned, Rahu, the Antardasha Lord, he owns the 8th house. And he is owning the 8th house and being in the 6th house. Can he give accident? Both of them are house of accidents. 8 is the house of unexpected events and 6 is the house of fixed struggle, etc. So both of them are house of accident. So Rahu Antardasha has potential for accident. If we saw that Rahu Antardasha is running, we could have said in the short answer, we could have said you have to be a little careful in this 1 year. But let us look at, but that is not really useful in the whole 1 year. It can happen any time. So let's look at the Tithi Pravesh chart and see if it makes any sense. 2010 Tithi Pravesh chart. Right? So 2010 Tithi Pravesh chart is, when is it cast? The Chaitra Krishna Dwadasi 57% left is April 10. April 10 at 11:25:40 p.m. in the night. So that is when April 10, 2010. That is when Tithi Pravesh chart is cast, right? So the ruler of the year is Sun is the ruler of the year. What Antardasha gave the result? Venus Antardasha. What was the date? October 12. So Venus. Venus Dasha gave the result. Is there a possibility of accident in Venus Dasha? Tell me. Does it make any sense that Venus Dasha would give accident in this chart? Can Venus Dasha give accident? What do you think?
He is 2nd and 7th Lord.
Huh? Yeah? He is the second and 7th Lord. So can you give access? Is he a benefic? First of all, let's see what we learned today. Is he a benefic or malefic?
He's a malefic, sir.
Huh? Yes, he's a malefic.
He's a malefic.
He's a malefic. So why is he a malefic? Because Parasara said so. He listed him as a malefic because he owns second house and seventh house. But the thing is, for second house, we have some modifying factors, associations basically. So what are the associations of Venus? Tell me. What are the associations of Venus in this annual Tithi chart?
So we can see the Rashi Drishti and
No, see the Graha Drishti and conjunction and Graha Drishti. Any planet aspecting him?
no.
Hmm?
No.
Okay. Is Jupiter aspecting him?
Jupiter and Mercury.
Mercury? What do you mean?
No, aspected by his
Let us look at planetary aspect evaluation. Change the options for planetary aspect evaluation, Shodasamsa, and go to Venus. Okay. So Venus is aspected 73% by Mercury. What? Something wrong. And Jupiter. Why is Mercury aspecting Venus? Something seems wrong to me. See, in D16, Venus is at 23 degree Capricorn. Right? Venus is at 23 degree Capricorn and Mercury is at 12 degree Sagittarius. So, I don't understand why Mercury has aspect on Venus. There seems to be a bug. I'll go back and investigate this. It doesn't make any sense. You should have third aspect, it should be 1/4, so it should be less. It should not be that high. On the other hand, I would have expected Mars to have a higher aspect. So I'll check it out. But Jupiter does have an aspect because D16 Venus is at 23 degree Capricorn and Jupiter is at 17 degree Virgo. Right? So from Jupiter, he is at fifth house, he is in the fifth house, plus 6 degrees. So the aspect will be pretty strong. So what is the quantification given? Okay, if there is a bug, this may also be inaccurate, but it seems in the ballpark. So Jupiter's aspect is in the right ballpark. It will be a strong aspect. So actually, let's do the math. What is the aspect likely to be? What is the formula? This is between the fifth house and sixth house, right? Between 120 degrees and 150 degrees. So for all planets, the formula is half, 50%. So at the cusp, 120 degrees it is 50%. At 150 degrees it is 0. Sixth house, no planet has an aspect. So it goes from 120 to 150, it goes all the way from 50 to 0. And how much are we into what is the exact angle? Let's see D16. Jupiter is at 1740 Virgo, Venus is at 2323. So we are talking about 6 degree,
Plus 6 degrees.
no, 5 degree 40 minutes. 5 and 2/3 approximately, 5.6, 5 and 2/3 degree after 120 degrees. So that is approximately taking it as 6 degrees, that is 1/5 of the 30 degrees. So it is between 50% and 0%, but 1/5 the way from 50.
45%.
So 45%. No, 1/5 of 50. So 10 you have to subtract. So 40%. Okay. So 40%. Exact math if you do, it will be probably 43% like that. So around 40% aspect is there for all planets on that particular position. But between 120 and 150 degrees, for Jupiter you add 50% to it. So it is 40 plus 50, 90%. So Jupiter's aspect is 90%. You know what? Force natal chart. That's the thing.
The tick mark.
The check mark, if you remove it, it's not a bug. You just chose the wrong thing. So now let's see. Yeah, Mars has 82% aspect. That's what I would expect. Jupiter has 90.5% aspect. So we are forcing the aspected position to be natal position. So transit, Sthiti Pravesh positions aspecting natal positions. That's what we were seeing. That's the problem. Okay, so now it's no bug in the software. So the biggest influences are Mars and Jupiter.
Right click
Mars and Jupiter. So Mars and Jupiter are the benefics or malefics? They are benefics.
Mars is benefic and Jupiter also.
Yeah.
Yep. For that lagna.
For that lagna. So the thing is, even though this is not conjunction, there is aspect of benefic planets. So Venus will get a little bit of beneficence from that. So as the second lord, he gets a little bit of beneficence. So but the thing is, he owns the 7th house. So being a natural benefic owning the 7th house, he is a malefic. So overall, he is a malefic, but not a terrible malefic. He is a malefic. He is an average malefic. So why did he give accident? Why did he give accident? First of all, can you say that because he is a killer, he is a marka. But Aries Lagna, he is a marka, he can give accident. Well, being a marka, he can kill, as far as the vehicle is concerned, he can kill a that-like thing. So that makes sense. But the thing is, why did he, you don't really see 6th house, 8th house, etc. showing up, right? So why did he still give accident? Does he have a link with the 6th and 8th house? See, without even a malefic planet, without 6th house and 8th house link, he can't give accident, right? Why did he give accident then? Tell me. In the Rashi chart, you mean, not natal. Natal means birth. In the Rashi chart, he is saying he is the 6th lord. So he should give physically, some struggle during his period. Some tension, struggle, etc. So, well, fine. That can be given through work or through marriage or anything. That doesn't have to be through vehicle, right? So why is it with the vehicle?
Jupiter and Mars has Jupiter is in
Yes.
the 6th house and Mars
Jupiter is in the 6th house and Mars
the
is
8th lord.
Jupiter is in the 6th house with Gulika and Mars is the 8th lord and also dispositor of Rahu Ketu. Rahu Ketu are karakas for this kind of unfortunate events, right? So based on those factors, Venus, a killer planet in this chart, a marka, a clear marka, being both the 2nd and 7th lord, a clear marka, he has association with both the 6th and 8th lords. The two planets who are aspecting him are the 6th and 8th lords. So he can give accident because of it, right? Now apart from it, if you want to see things relating to car, because as far as the car is concerned, it got total, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to see car, what are the factors? How do you see car in the short term, sir?
A4.
Huh? Right, A4. A4 will show car. Where is A4 here?
Aquarius.
A4 is in Aquarius. Right? So A4 is in Aquarius. Where is it in Aquarius? It be 45 minutes Aquarius. So A4 is in Aquarius and Venus is in the 12th house. So from A4, from the A4 of vehicle being in the 12th house, he can give a loss of vehicle. So loss of vehicle Venus can give, and he can also give accident being associated with the 6th and 8th houses, and being a marka, he can give the death of the car.
This was actually on the way to a temple, sir.
I see.
I don't know if that would make sense.
Yeah, that will be very difficult to see. There is one more factor you can see. To see the vehicle and happiness of the person, pleasure, happiness, etc., the comfort of the person. The 4th house can be taken as Lagna, right? So you can take the 4th house as Lagna. Now, from the 4th house as Lagna, Venus happens to be a male fig, Badhaka Lord in the 7th house. Again, he is in the Markasthana from the 4th house also. So he is basically the Badhaka Lord in the Markasthana from the 4th house. So apart from A4 being the 12th Lord, from the 4th house he is a bad planet. And secondly, You can take moon as the lagna instead of lagna. You can take Venus, lagna and moon. All the three for as lagna for vehicle. Because Venus is the karaka, but he is not that strong. Lagna, again, he is not that strong. But moon, he is another planet, and moon lagna is owned by Jupiter. Jupiter is aspecting it. So, Chandra lagna in Meena is very strong in this chart. It's afflicted, but it is strong because it's associated with planets. So, you can take the moon lagna as lagna to see how the to see various houses. You can take moon as lagna. If you take moon as lagna, what is going on? Instead of lagna, you ignore actual lagna, you take moon as lagna. The fourth house of vehicle is in Gemini, right?
Right.
It is in Gemini. Now, where is it in Gemini? Gemini 12 degrees 43 minutes. So, from there, Venus is in the 8th house. So, Venus is in the 8th house. So, he can give problems or even death relating to vehicles. So, Venus is in the 8th house from the 4th house. And moreover, the planet who is aspecting Venus, one planet Jupiter is the 7th lord, Maraka. The other planet Mars is the 6th lord of accident and dispositor of Rahu Ketu. So 6th lord is aspecting and he is in the 8th house.
We saw this from Moon's 4th house.
The 4th house from Moon. So 4th house from Moon and 4th house from Lagna, both can show vehicle.
But in other sense, he got a new car. That means he should be. I mean
Yeah. You got a new car in the same period?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So Venus should also be good for the A4. He should not just be, here from A4 being the 12th lord, he gave lots of car. But from A4, he is also Yokaraka.
Yeah.
From A4 in Aquarius, he is the 4th and 9th lord. He is the Yokaraka.
But still, he has really given me a second thought when I'm driving the car. But the influence of the Badaka exists.
Yeah.
Because right now, even though I don't derive the same kind of a pleasure.
No, that is different. How you feel when you drive the car is from the 4th, not from A4. That is from the 4th house only, right? 4th house is how you feel. A4 is the actual vehicle that you have there. It's a tangible thing. Arudhas are tangible. So vehicle you see from A4. From A4, even though Venus is ill-placed in the 12th house, he is a Yokaraka. So he can give loss of car, but he can give a new car. But from the point of view of mental peace, see, as such, Moon is affected by Saturn. So there will be some tension is indicated this year relating to short terms of matters. And secondly, taking the 4th house from either Lagna or from Moon, Venus is not well placed. So during Venus Dasha, having some tension, mind not being comfortable in relation to cars and other luxuries is perfectly accepted. So see your feelings, how you feel from 4th house, especially from Moon, if you are talking about your mental feelings. But see the car itself from A4. Any other thoughts? The thing is, I don't want to actually start comparing because I'm still studying. As you know, I'm basically working on the Surya Siddhanta model, right? Apart from the Druk Siddhanta that we have currently. So I'm just checking out how the annual Tithi Pravesh chart based on that is. So just for your reference. The thing is, in the case of Surya Siddhanta, the formulas are, the planets can be a couple of degrees plus or minus the actual visible positions, the positions that you see in the sky. So this is what astrologers use for the last few millennia. This is what Varahamihira recommended. This is what Varahamihira used. This is what Nadi, for example, when Narayana Iyer went for a Nadi reading, they said your Mercury is in Pisces. But his Mercury is in the first degree or second degree of Aries, based on Druk Siddhanta, based on Lahiri, Aynamsa and NASA models. But Nadi readers who gave some good readings to him said he's in Pisces, at the end of Pisces. So when we use Surya Siddhanta, actually it is in Pisces. So like that in Nadi Granthas, where they enumerate the chart and give some readings, they use the Surya Siddhanta models. And in Tamil Nadu, some people, in South India, some people use so-called Vakya Panchangam, which is based on some models, analytical models, that is based on Surya Siddhanta. And in North India also people use Surya Siddhanta for a long time. Actually most of India people use Surya Siddhanta for a long time. The only tricky part is, like every Sanskrit literature, everything gets corrupted. So Surya Siddhanta has some things that are obvious, and some verses which are tricky, which can be interpreted in multiple ways, just like BPHS, Parasara, the verses that we are interpreting. So even though all different interpretations will be in the same ballpark, they will be different from Surya Siddhanta, they will be in the same ballpark, but the actual degree merit may be different based on the exact math, some of the sanskaras, etc. you are doing. So it's very difficult to say this is Surya Siddhanta. There are different models. So what I am working on is one model that somebody who makes Panchanga for some mathas in North India, one monk, he basically gave his software to me in Visual Basic. So I converted to Visual C++ and I added to the software. And I'm experimenting with it for the last few months with various charts. I don't want to basically say this is what I believe in, because I still don't believe in anything. But the thing is, I haven't ruled it out. I haven't ruled out Surya Siddhanta, even though all the divisional charts, divisional longitudes, they drastically change compared to what we are used to. So I haven't made up my mind, but I've been studying it closely. So whenever I see an example, I immediately compare with it.
That is for Nadi reading or regular?
No, basically the idea there is the planets that you see in the physical sky, they are just the physical bodies of the planets that are not what are causing influence on you. They have a physical influence on you, physical gravity, etc. But the thing is, planets cause results in your life by having influence, subtle gravity, not by physical gravity or physical magnetic force. There is some subtle force. So they have a subtle body, Sukha Sharira, which is causing effect on your Sukha Sharira. So that is how they are bringing events about in your life. So if you basically believe that, then the Sukha Sharira of the planet, it may not necessarily be in the same place. Basically Jupiter, who exists as a god, who is somewhere in the sky, he may not be exactly where Jupiter is. He is associated with that planet, but he may be in the vicinity. He may be a degree or two away. So the theory is, the Surya Siddhanta models that were given by Rishis and followed by Varahamihira, one possibility is they were approximate models. They were just approximate models, they were never right. These guys, using the technology that they had, they modeled and they gave some nice analytical models. So they are basically not really reliable. If you have a better technology, use the right models. You are supposed to see physical planets. That is one theory. The other theory is, these are nearby, this may be near or may not even be near the physical planets, but these are the actual subtle planets that are to be used in astrology, and Rishis have given them, Varahamihira has used it. But as Kali Yuga progressed, people basically lost faith in the teachings of ancients, and they assumed that this is just an analytical model which is approximate, so you have to change it based on the NASA findings. So people basically, the one that is supposed to be used in astrology, people junked it and moved to something else. So that is the other possibility. And some people believe that there was a particular era, like Varahamihira's era, a particular time period in the past when these matched the physical positions very closely. And then they gave some analytical models so that physical positions and this matches perfectly. And then slowly the deviations became more. But the thing is, if you actually use the version of Surya Siddhanta that I have programmed, if you compare any time in the past, like Varahamihira's time, Arapata's time, it doesn't match really. At any point of time, there is a deviation between the Sukshma, Surya Siddhanta positions and the physical positions. Some planets are more and some planets are less at different points of time. So the thing is, this was never really matching physically. So we don't really know what is the truth. But given the fact that Nadi Granthas have some amazing readings. Some Nadi Granthas are junk. Especially some Nadi readers, they're commercial, they don't really have any real Granthas written by Rishis or their students. They're just selling something. Some Nadi Granthas are genuine, but the readers are not patient enough. They randomly extract one page, and in Nadi Granthas they're supposed to ask questions, verify, and then if they don't get a positive answer to all the questions, they go to another page. Finally, you're supposed to find the right page based on the thumb impression or various things like your name, your father's name, your mother's name, etc. They're supposed to find the right page. Once you have the right page, things are going to be accurate. That's the theory. And I know people who got really accurate readings. I know people who are disappointed also. But the bottom line is, in the cases where it is accurate, it is so accurate. Your father's name is Srinivasan, your mother's name is so-and-so, Durgamamba, like that basically. At so-and-so years you go to a foreign country, like that very precise readings have been given. So, all of us, we can claim some good predictions we have given, but the thing is, if you look at really precise, amazing predictions, Nadi Granthas are really the only thing that stands out in astrology, in Jyotish, which is really amazing. And they use Surya Siddhanta, base positions. So the thing is, there is some, and Varahamihira, who is supposed to have given really precise readings, up to the hour kind of readings. He used Surya Siddhanta. So there is some possibility that Surya Siddhanta is genuine. It may not be ruled out right away. And interesting, huh? What?
No, Agastya, who wrote that? Agastya?
Nadi? Nadi Granthas are written by various rishis.
I went to one in Hyderabad.
Yeah, Agastya Nadi by Agastya, there are so many Nadi attributed to various rishis and their disciples. So disciples of rishis sat down, they anticipated who will come and consult those books, and they gave their charts, they enumerated the chart, they gave various statistics relating to the charts, and some readings which will be useful. So, and interestingly, when you go there, they will ask you some questions, and they will. The trick is, these people who read them don't know any astrology, so they have to somehow find the right page. Once they find the right page, some good readings will be there, assuming it's a genuine text. And there are some fake Nadi texts also, because it's a nice profession. And some Nadi texts are based on the pariharas only. So they say, you have such great dosha, you have to get so-and-so puja done. So basically they do that puja and they get a lot of money from you. So some Nadi texts are just having some fake texts and making a lot of money. So all things are there, but the bottom line is, there are the presence of some Nadi Granthas where some people got really amazing, precise readings. That suggests that maybe some of the techniques that they were using have something in them, some worth in them. So they use Surya Siddhanta. So bottom line I am suggesting is, given that the light in our Jyotish is still not so bright, it is still hazy. So it is still possible that we haven't got all the parameters right. So Surya Siddhanta may be one such parameter. So it is worth pursuing. I really believe that it is worth considering. That is why I have decided to add in the software, and I am going to release soon. I am working on some final issues and I will be releasing it soon, so that people can experiment with it. And interestingly, the moment I announced, I said in a couple of weeks I am going to release Jagannatha Hora with Surya Siddhanta support, I got such abusive mail from some people saying, you are doing the worst sin of your life, this will be the end of you are wasting your life, what a great bad thing you are doing. They weren't even concerned that this is a really great technique, you shouldn't be making it public. That wasn't their concern. They are like, you are basically corrupting astrology with something really terrible. So I got some people who advocate their own Ainamshas with their own names. Such people basically send me really threatening mails saying, the mother Kundalini is going to destroy you now, this will be your ruin, I'm telling you, Bhavani is speaking to me, like that basically. Some people feel really threatened by this Surya Siddhanta. I told them, they said, this monk, Vinay, whatever he believes is nonsense, he doesn't know Surya Siddhanta, this is all wrong. So I told them, if you have a different model of Surya Siddhanta that you want to be programmed, send it to me, either as an algorithm or as a software like it is. I'll put it in the software, I don't care. This is one version of Surya Siddhanta that I'm exploring right now. So the thing is, some people apparently hate Surya Siddhanta for whatever reason, I don't understand exactly why. But in my honest opinion, it's worth considering. So anyway, so I just quickly made, you can't replicate this until I release the software for you, but the thing is, based on a Surya Siddhanta model, Tithi Pravesh happens to be on 2010 April 11 at 12:55 2 a.m. 12 hours 55 minutes 2 seconds a.m. So basically April 10th night. What was it based on our thing, Siddhanta?
11:25 p.m. which is
On April 11?
no 10th.
April 10th. Oh, 11:25 p.m.
1 hour 30 minutes difference.
Yeah, around 1.5 hours difference.
1 hour.
So that will basically change, that could change the Lagna. In Rashi chart, Lagna is still Sagittarius. You also have Sagittarius, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Lagna is still at the end of Sagittarius, But the Shodashamsa, because it is at the end of Sagittarius, the Shodashamsa Lagna is Pisces. In Shodashamsa Lagna is Pisces. And the Dasha, Tripravesh, Tithyastotra Dasha still is Venus.
And the planets are situated in the same...
No, that's what I was going to say. So it was still Venus Dasha in which the event happened, and Venus happens to be in Aquarius with Sun. Venus is in the 12th house with Sun. So, Venus is the 8th lord, Sun is the 6th lord, and 6th and 8th lords, Venus and Sun are together in the 12th house of laws. So, it's an interesting thing. Okay.
The rest of the planets are the same, sir?
No, everything will be different. So, don't worry about writing down. I'll give you later. Jupiter, Mercury, Mars and Jupiter are in Libra, Rahu, Ketu in Capricorn, Sun and Venus in Aquarius, Moon and Saturn in Lagna. So, that is the combination. So, Venus, Moon, Antardasha gave the event. Venus, Sun combination, like I said, 6th Lord, 8th Lord in the 12th house. Taking Venus as Lagna, Moon is the 6th Lord. And he is expecting Lagna Lord Saturn. So, there is a Moon-Saturn combination showing some sad event in Lagna, showing some tragedy, Moon and Saturn in Lagna, right? And from Venus, the Dasha Lord, Moon is the 6th Lord. So, Venus Dasha, Moon and the Dasha gave the event. So, quite honestly, in my opinion, of course, you can't conclude something like this based on one example. You have to go through hundreds of examples of various kinds. Because there can be data error, there can be all kinds of noise. So, to be resistant of that noise, you have to use many hundreds of examples before you can say it is working better. So, there are so many factors. But the bottom line is, in this particular example, this seems to be better. Instead of saying, oh yeah, Venus is aspected by 6th Lord and 8th Lord and he is a Maraka, so he gave a totaling of the car. To say that 6th and 8th Lord are together in Aquarius, an inauspicious sign, and the 12th house. And moreover, Venus is with Sun. That's not a good combination. There he is basically uncomfortable. He is combust when he is with Sun. So, their combination. So, that basically makes a very good sense.
So,
based on this particular example. Yes. So
if you use the
3rd and 8th Lord, Venus, is the main thing.
Yeah.
There is a high chance that your divisional charts in case of your would also change.
Natal chart, Jupiter chart, all divisional charts can change.
What do you mean by the if I'm here, I'm here?
Yeah.
The Sukshma effect. How do you calculate where Sun wants to be, or where?
It's not like he wants to be. The God, see, the God of Sun, the deity called Sun, he may be at the center of this sphere which represents Sun, or he may be in the vicinity. We don't know. We haven't seen him. Unless you are a Rishi who can see deities and know a little bit about them, you can't basically know who they are, where they are. For example, for those of you who follow Vimalananda, the Aghori, in the series of books, I think in the first book, Aghora, the left hand of God, in that book he mentions that Rishis knew both about the gross planets and the subtle planets. And for certain calculations, he says, they basically calculated the precise time when they should have intercourse with the wife, so that the kind of son they wanted will be born to them. And in that particular chapter, he basically says, and of course, they knew both about the subtle planets and the gross planets, and for this they used the subtle planets. So basically, he indicates that in his mind, there are gross planets and subtle planets, and they way to calculate both, and Rishis knew both. And they use subtle planets for this purpose. In another part of the same book, he says, to Svoboda, he says, yeah, Saturn influences you. The physical Saturn you see in the sky is like a mirror image. He is just a reflection. The actual Saturn who is influencing you is somebody else. He is the one who is actually giving results to you. Like that he said. So like that, there are people who have this notion that there is a subtle body and there is a gross body, and what you see is the gross body. In the case of human being, my subtle body may be usually in the same place where my gross body is. But it's not necessary. My subtle body may be slightly displaced. Sometimes it may actually travel somewhere also. Anyway, let's not go there. Bottom line is, there's no point in theoretical speculation, philosophical speculation of this, because you can't really, by philosophical speculation, you can't conclude whether subtle sun, who affects us subtly, our subtle body, will be at the center of the sphere representing the burning object that we call sun, or he will be in the vicinity. He may be a little away. We don't really, is he on the surface or in the center or little away from the surface? We don't really know. There's no way to know it. The proof of the pudding is, because there is a precedent for these formulas being used in the past by some successful astrologers of India, like Nadi writers and Varaha, and some astrologers in the last 2000 years. Because of that precedent, and given that Drishiddhanta has come pretty recently, in the last 100 years, after the Western influence, it is possible that this is genuine. So it is possible that we study it. And the thing is, if people think, oh yeah, divisional charts are working nicely for me, I can explain every event so nicely, so this must be accurate, well, good luck. Then if you are happy with what you have, you don't have to try this. You can stick to it. Jagannatha Hora will continue to support what is supposed today. But the thing is, if you believe that my readings sometimes they are good, sometimes I have to somehow justify, maybe there is a different calculation which will give better success more times, then you can use this. The only caveat is, this may not be the most perfect Surya model.
So there are
How many
models
models
are there? You know?
There are probably as many as there are Panchangas. So different traditions will interpret something slightly differently. So there are different models. Most popular is probably what is interpreted by Reverend Budges, but among the westernized scholars of Siddhanta. But the Panchangakartas, they use their own interpretations that come in their traditions. So there are different Panchangakartas, they have slightly different interpretations. And I have never really studied Surya Siddhanta in depth, so it is not practical for me to actually study various Surya Siddhantas and put all of them in the software. So this person who approached me, I chose to use his model.
There were equations that were given by generations and generations.
Yes, there are equations given in Sanskrit slokas, which are, their interpretation has been passed down by generations of Panchanga-kartas. And in the tradition that this person belongs to, Vinay Jha, basically they keep this knowledge very secretive. They are all worshippers of sun with the Gayatri mantra, and they give this mantra, this Siddhanta basically only to worshippers of sun and only to brahmacharis. I am not a brahmachari, but only to brahmacharis this knowledge was passed for many generations. And he believes that this is the right knowledge, and I am just exploring it and making it available to people so that they can practice it. And the bottom line is, whatever I do in astrology, it is basically these days it is guided by my spiritual guru. So when this person made a proposal, I want to add you, I will give you my software if you are interested. My spiritual guru's intuition was that there is some worth in it, so take it. So I basically decided to take it and put it in the software. So anyway, so I just wanted to check that, so we'll go back to normal method now. So any other questions, any other comments? Anything else? Okay. And the thing is, just to make the point, even with the normal Siddhanta, Lagna could be in Meena and Shorthansa, but the thing is that requires 7 minutes of error. Had it been in the border, right? Had it been in the border, you could have changed it by a few seconds and it would be in Meena. Again, Venus will be the 8th lord then. Then giving accident makes more sense, because 6th and 8th are the house of accident. So 7 minutes 11 seconds earlier, Lagna will change to Pisces. So it's very unlikely. It may be the next time, Taurus, but again for Taurus, Lagna Lord in 9th house, Padgasthana, not really an accident giver. But he is also the 6th Lord. So if you believe that Dukshidhanta is correct, then one possibility is this Lagna may be inaccurate, the time may be off by 54 seconds forward, and Lagna is Taurus, and Venus being the 6th Lord in the Padgasthana get the accident. Do you understand? Yes. But the thing is, that will require revisiting all your previous events and see if you add 1 minute to your time, or 55 seconds or more to your birth time, will it affect any of the events? So that is the other thing you can pursue. Okay. Any other comments, any other questions, comments? And by the way, Trimshamsa is another useful chart. The Trimshamsa chart. Trimshamsa shows evils, right? So let's go back to the normal Druk Siddhanta. Let's go to Trimshamsa. Let's go to Titipravesh chart. See Trimshamsa. What is going on in the Trimshamsa? Yeah, in the Titipravesh chart. How is Venus in the Trimshamsa? Who can give troubles in Trimshamsa? Trimshamsa shows various evils that happen to you. Who can give evils? Who are the main three planets in Trimshamsa, which I mentioned earlier? 6th Lord, 8th Lord, Bhadaka Lord. Right? Is Venus any of them in the Trimshamsa? I am taking Parashari Trimshamsa, by the way. This is what you are supposed to take. He is the Bhadaka Lord. For Aquarius Lagna in Trimshamsa, which shows the suffering and evils, Venus is the Bhadaka Lord. And he is with Rahu and Ketu. Again, Rahu and Ketu are evil planets. Planets who are with them can give suffering. So, Venus being with Rahu, Ketu and Venus being a Bhadaka Lord, he can give some unexpected, Bhadaka shows unexpected results. So, some unexpected suffering can be given by Venus. And he is the 4th Lord, so maybe it's relating to vehicles. You can speculate. In the Trimshamsa, he is the 4th Lord. In the 2nd house from 4th house. So, you can say he gives suffering relating to vehicles. And the thing is, one more technique you can use is, you can use, when you correlate two different charts, if you want to compare two different charts, you can take the position of planet in one chart and the other chart and see the mutual placement. Let me give an example. So in the Shodashamsa, Venus is in Capricorn. In the Trimshamsa, Shodashamsa is vehicular happiness. Trimshamsa, basically suffering and punishment for your evils from past. Venus is He is in Gemini. He is in the 6th house. So, 6-8 combination. The Shodashamsa Venus and the Trimshamsa Venus. The Venus as the giver of happiness, vehicular happiness and luxuries, etc. And the Venus who gives suffering. They are basically in a bad relationship, 6 and 8. So the thing is, as far as the Venus who is supposed to give you pleasures and luxuries and happiness, this Venus is concerned, the other Venus who is supposed to give you suffering, he will actually go against this Venus because he is in the 6th house. So, there can be some suffering, etc.
This is for the Pravesha.
This is for this year. You can do this in the natal chart also. Similarly, let's say Navamsa, right? Suppose you see Navamsa. Navamsa is blessings. Trimshamsa is punishment for the evil, suffering. Navamsa is blessing. So you take Venus in Navamsa. Where is he in Navamsa? He is in Virgo. So from the sign occupied by Venus in Shodashamsa, the sign occupied by Venus in Navamsa is 9th house. So as far as blessing is concerned, Venus is also showing blessing. So blessing in terms of vehicle is also being shown. So the thing is, in the same period, it is possible that your car was destroyed. You went through a lot of suffering for the car, some punishment, and also you got a new car. You were blessed with a new car. So like that, basically, this is just an example. You can see the Dashamsa where a planet is, and Chaturvimshamsa, Trimshamsa. You can combine different divisional charts and see the synergy of what the planet represents in one chart versus what the planet represents in another chart. What is the synergy between them? You can see this based on the relationship between the planet in one chart and planet in the other chart. And of course, you can see Venus in Dashamsa versus Moon's Shodashamsa. Like that also you can see, but it becomes messy. It becomes too many degrees of freedom. But when you are focusing on a planet, you can see its relationship between different charts.
So from the same planet position you have to see? Same from the Lagna. For example, in Venus...
You can use Lagna also, but then that is... You can take Trimshamsa Lagna and see where Venus is from Trimshamsa Lagna. What I am saying is, from Shodashamsa Venus, how is Trimshamsa Venus?
Okay, like that.
So that will show the relationship between what Venus stands for in your luxury and what Venus stands for in your punishment.
Right. So how do you say the 3 and 6 here? So
Venus in Shodashamsa is in
Capricorn.
Venus in Trimshamsa is in Gemini.
In Gemini, yeah.
In the 6th house from it.
Oh,
from Capricorn, he is in the 6th house.
To Trimshamsa is the 6th house.
Shodashamsa to Trimshamsa, he is in the 6th house.
But whereas in Navamsha,
Yeah. You can understand?
So we have
Yeah.
you've broken down the synergies from Rasi chart into their multiple divisional charts.
Right.
And right now we are combining certain divisional charts to get a good synergy between.
Yeah.
So
You see, basically, the career, suppose you want to see. You see from the Navamsha, right?
Right.
But the thing is, Navamsha also shows your blessings from the previous lives. The blessings that you carry are shown in Navamsha. So the thing is, some synergy between the Navamsha and the Dashamsha should be there when some blessing happens. Or, suppose you get laid off or something. Getting laid off is a bad event. So there should be a synergy between a chart that shows punishment and a chart that shows career. So you can, for example, if you see this chart, right?
Venus also
Dashamsha, in Dashamsha,
is Jantam.
we are talking about the annual Tithi Pravesha.
still the same chart, annual Tithi Pravesha chart. Mars and Moon, they are the 5th and 9th lords. They are together in the 4th house, or 3rd, I didn't really check, but they are Yokarkas. Right? Even though Saturn is also there. Without Saturn influence, they would have been good Yokarkas. Now if you see the Navamsha placement, they are, first of all, from the Dashamsha placement. Their Navamsha placements are in trines, mutual trines, for both of them. Right? So, their periods can be good for career. Similarly, if you take Venus is the 8th lord in Dashamsha, right? He can have some problems in the career.
Yes.
And how is he in Trimshamsha?
Trimshamsha.
He's in the same sign. He's not really showing any bad placement, so it's not bad. There isn't any. On the other hand, if the 8th lord in Dashamsha, from him, if you take the Trimshamsha portion, suppose he's a bad placement, there is a bad synergy between them. So you have to be particularly careful. There is a potential for a bad event during that year. You understand?
No, but for the Venus,
Yeah.
in some way is in the 8th house. He's in Gemini. Right?
I'm taking from the Dashamsha Venus where Trimshamsha Venus is.
Oh, okay. No, but still,
Yeah.
Samsa Venus is in Libra.
In Libra, that's what I'm saying.
Trimshamsha Venus is in Libra? Okay. One second, let me come back. 2010, Tithi Pravesh chart. Oh, right, you are right. So Dashamsha Venus is in?
Trimshamsha Venus
Venus is in Libra. And the Trimshamsha Venus is in?
is in Gemini.
So he's a trine. So it's not really bad. We are looking for a punishment. But the planet who is supposed to give punishment, his energy is in a house of blessings. So there is no real danger. On the other hand, I'll give another example. Let me go to my chart. The year I lost my job, I was laid off. So when most of the engineering team was laid off at the startup I was working in, if you see, let's see. The data is 1970, actually Aadhaar of the software, if you have Jahora, Aadhaar of the software open, 1970 April 4, 17:47:8, that is 5:47:8, 5 hours 47 minutes 8 seconds PM, Indian Standard Time, 5 hours 30 minutes east of GMT. The place is Machilipatnam, India, 81 degrees 8 minutes east, 16 degrees 10 minutes north. So 2002 August 12 or so, I think, August 12 afternoon, I think. So 2002, if you make the Tithi Pravesh chart, let's go there. So Dashamsha, August was, okay, it was Moon Dasha. Moon Antardasha, as per Tithi Astrology Dasha, gave the layoff. If you see Moon in Dashamsha, where is he?
He's in the Sagittarius.
He is in Sagittarius. If you see Trimshamsha, the chart of sufferings, punishments, Moon is exalted. Exalted planets can give strong results. And he is
in the 6th,
in Trimshamsha itself, he is the 8th lord in the 6th house, showing some big suffering. And from Dashamsha Moon, he is in the 6th house. He is in the 6th house. So basically of suffering, struggle, etc. So Moon, his aspect, which is supposed, the aspect of Moon, the perspective of Moon, the angle of Moon, which is supposed to give me some suffering. some punishment for the evils and some suffering. That aspect of moon is ill placed from the moon who is supposed to give my career, who is supposed to do something in my career. So because of that ill placement, during that period, a layoff was possible to happen. So like that basically you can see, it's not about just Dashamsa, you can see Chaturvishamsa, Trishamsa. Suppose somebody is having trouble in studies, he is not able to focus well, he is going through some, he is not able to focus and he is distracted by other things, he is being given some suffering, some punishment based on the previous karma. So some link with the D30 has to be there. So you can see the synergy between D30 and the Chaturvishamsa in that case. Same with spiritual progress, Vinshamsa and D20 and Trimshamsa. If you see what are the obstacles in the spiritual progress, etc. The karma that somebody does, you can correlate the Shamsa and Vinshamsa. The spiritual karmas one does. Like that basically there is so much you can do, right? You can do this in the natal chart, you can do this also in the Thithi chart. You can do it. And in the same example, if you go, in the same Thithi chart that we were seeing, if you go to Mars, Mars is in the Dashamsa chart, Thithi Dashamsa, is the Lagna Lord. In the 11th house, aspecting 5th house. Right? So being the Lagna Lord, he can give a new beginning. Right? And if you see the Navamsa, the blessings from gods, he is a Yokarka in Navamsa. As such, he gives yoga. Now, with respect to Dashamsa, what is the synergy with Dashamsa? Mars of the Navamsa is in the same sign as Mars of Dashamsa. So, he is a mutual trine. So, he can give blessings in, the blessings from the past life can give a breaking career. So, as soon as Mars Dasha started, I got laid off on August 12, around August 17, 18, 19, 20, that time basically. Within a few days of Mars Dasha starting, I basically had another offer at another startup. So I basically, I think from September 1st also I joined. So basically in March period I joined the next job. So that is basically the blessings from the Navamsa. So like this you can combine basically Navamsa shows great blessings, Trimshamsa shows suffering and evils. These are the two important charts. And Dashamsa shows your work. So these charts can be combined with various other charts. And you can basically see what kind of results are possible.
I was actually comparing your Navamsa and Dashamsa for the moon period, sir.
Yeah.
Looks like your moon in Dashamsa and your moon in Navamsa are in trines too.
Right. Okay.
So, the question of losing a job, when you look at...
So the thing is, the bottom line is, but the thing is, if you see the moon in the Navamsa, moon in the Trimshamsa. Moon in the Trimshamsa chart, moon is the 8th lord exalted in the 6th house. So he is showing some suffering. So basically you have to see which one dominates more, which one is stronger. And as such, this alone cannot tell you that somebody will lose a job. For somebody to lose a job, there has to be some indication that Dashamsa by itself. But what I am saying is, apart from, you can of course see Dashamsa in isolation. But the thing is, by combining it with Navamsa, by combining it with Trimshamsa, etc., you can basically get finer insight. That's basically what I am trying to say.
The aspect of that planet in various charts.
Yeah.
With respect to that. Superimposing the...
Right. Okay. So,
isn't this called some kind of a Sarvatavadra Chakra?
it's not Sarvatavadra Chakra. This is just
superimposing of one over the other?
not exactly. I mean, this is called Rashi Tuja Navamsa and Navamsa Tuja Rashi. Basically, they say Rashi planets you can put in Navamsa, Navamsa planets put in Rashi, see the interaction between them, etc. So what we are doing is Vargatulya Varga basically. If you want to call it something, you can call it Amshatulya Amsha. So Rashi Tulya Navamsa or Navamsa Tulya Rashi. Amshatulya Rashi, Rashi Tulya Amsha they say. We can call it Amshatulya Amsha. Basically you are it's not like Navamsa and Trimshamsa are two different charts. Navamsa, Trimshamsa, Rashi, all are basically one chart. There is only one zodiac. There is a Navamsa of moon, Trimshamsa of moon, Dashamsa of moon, Navamsa of sun, Trimshamsa of sun, Dashamsa of sun, Horoshamsa of sun, like that. For every planet there is one Amsa portion. So these are all points in the zodiac. And all of them have an interaction. So depending on which ones are together, which ones are in Shastras, which ones are in trines, there is a synergy between them. So between the Dashamsa of moon and Navamsa of Mars, there may be a synergy. Between Siddhamsa of Jupiter and Nishansha of Mercury, there may be a synergy. So depending on the synergy, various kinds of events can be given. So like that, basically it is, you can combine various things like this. So you have any other questions, any other comments, any other points you want to make? Anything else? So in that case, we will end with this. And for the next class, think of some examples so that we can discuss some example. So with that, Om Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Dharmika Jana Sukhino Bhavantu Yavad Bhumandale Sanatana Dharmo Vardhatu Visheshatah Bhartakhande Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, we are seeing a chart, 1964, January 7, 8:44 p.m., 5 hours 30 minutes east of GMT, that is IST. The place is Tadepalli Gudem. The longitude and latitude are 81 degrees 30 minutes east, 16 degrees 50 minutes north. So the Lagna should be 4 degree 27 minutes Leo, and moon should be 3 degree 44 minutes Libra. Okay, so what are we seeing? Health. Okay. So the question is relating to health. How is the health? And is there any background, like any concerns, specific concerns right now?
She's having a lot of problems in her knees.
Okay.
All of this has suddenly started up, so.
Okay.
Knees
So-
related to watery signs, cancer or all these signs, right?
Well, you can say that, but the thing is,
We have to say
that's a very generic statement. Problems in the knees, some people get problems in the knees because there's a lot of water accumulated.
right.
Some people get problem in the knees because they don't have enough water, enough lubrication. They have such dry bodies and there isn't enough water. So knee problem can be because of excess kapha, excess pitta, excess vata. So nothing is off the table when you just approach a new person. So let's see what kind of constitution she has and what kind of problems she has. But the thing is, if you look at the thumb rule that we had earlier, the house owned by the sixth lord and the sign owned by the eighth lord. If we see like that, we don't really see any problem here. So which house shows knees? What is the house to show knees in the physical Rashi chart? Do you guys remember for knees? Lagna is head, second house is face, third house is neck and throat, and fourth house is heart, and third house is also part of lungs, and fourth house is neck, fifth house is stomach, the digestive system, upper stomach, and sixth house is the lower stomach, liver, all these parts, and the seventh house is kidneys, all those parts, the internal parts further down, and eighth house is the hidden parts, the genitals, buttocks, etc. And ninth house is thighs, 10th house is knees and calves, and the 11th house is ankles, the lower calves and the ankles, and the 12th house is feet. So this is basically how the body is divided into various parts and mapped to various houses, right? So, is there a problem relating to the 10th? 10th is knees. So if there is some knee problem, there has to be some weakness associated with the 10th lord or 10th house. Otherwise it's unlikely. Is there any problem with the 10th house or 10th lord? Tell me. Any occupants of the 10th house? Nobody. Right? Any aspects on the 10th house? Anybody aspecting the 10th house? Let's see. Oops. What I meant is this.
Details. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go to Rashi aspect, planetary aspect evaluation. The 10th house is aspected by moon mostly. Moon has 75% aspect. That's it. Saturn has 69% aspect. So moon and Saturn have the highest aspect on the 10th house. Moon is the 12th lord, Saturn is the 6th lord in the 6th house. So that is one thing basically. So 12th and 6th lord, 12th house of hospitalization and 6th house of disease. The lords are aspecting 10th house. So that is one weakness. The other weakness is the lord is in Manakarka Sthana. The 10th lord Venus is in the 6th house of disease. Moreover, that is Manakarka Sthana for him. So when 10th lord is in the 6th house, see, if you remember the rule earlier, if the 6th lord is, depending on the house occupied by the 6th lord, we say this is the disease he will have. If 6th lord is in first house, relating to the head. If 6th lord is in the third house, relating to throat, right? That's what we did earlier. Now, that doesn't apply, but that particular rule doesn't apply, but 10th lord is in the 6th house. So maybe still relating to the 10th house. It's the reverse of the previous rule. So, whichever lord is in the 6th house, relating to that house area, there can be some problem. Right? So 10th lord being in the 6th house, there can be some problem in the knee. Moreover, this planet is in Manakarka Sthana, so that is particularly bad. And what is the dasha she is running right now? She is running Saturn dasha. So the dasha running right now is Saturn, and Saturn is the 6th lord in the 6th house. He is the 6th and 7th lord. Is he benefic or malefic for Leo Lagna? He is a malefic. He owns 7th house, a neutral house, but he also owns 6th house. So he is a malefic planet. So being a malefic planet and being moreover the 6th lord and moreover aspecting the 10th house, having a 70% aspect on the 10th house, he can, and being the disposer of the 10th lord, he can give knee problems. Okay? So some kind of knee problems are possible. So what kind of knee problems do you expect based on this? Kapha, Pitta, Vata. What do you think? Venus, if Venus is the problem giver, he will give Kapha problem. But the thing is, right now it's not Venus Dasha. It may be Kapha, there may be excess Kapha also. But right now Saturn Dasha is running and problem has come in Saturn Dasha. So most likely it is Vata. And if you look at the planets there, Mars, Venus and Saturn, they are the planets there, right? Out of them, if you look at them, Saturn is the strongest. Mars is also in exaltation, but Mars is at 2 degrees. Venus is at 25 degrees, Saturn is at 27 degrees, 28 degrees. So Venus and Saturn are very close. So affliction on Venus, the 10th lord, is much stronger by Saturn than by Mars. So forget Mars. Padaka lord Mars, forget him. So Pitta is not a constraint. But overall, being a Leo Lagna person, she must be somebody with Pitta. She must be somebody with a strong Pitta. This is a physical constitution is Pitta. But what I expect is actually we will see the physical constitution later. But this particular problem relating to knees is because of Saturn mainly. So I will say 80% Vata, 20% Kapha. So there is a lot of dryness basically, like Saturn gives like arthritis, that kind of problems. The joints basically toned down, not enough lubrication in the joints, so a lot of pain in the joints. That is the condition given by Saturn. So what we need is remove excess Vata from the joints. That is basically what you need. Removal of excess Vata from joints can be done by, there are several combinations, but the most popular one is called Yogaraj Gugulu. So some variation of Gugulu basically. Gugulu is it's a resin, it's actually resin. Very versatile medicine in Ayurveda, Gugulu. You mix it with various other things and you make Kaishori Gugulu, Yogaraj Gugulu, Tifala Gugulu, like that. You make so many different variations. And they are for slightly different variations of the problem. If our analysis is right, if it's Vata which is the main problem, then Yogaraj Gugulu can be taken.
For Vata related knee issues.
It's Vata related, not just knees. It removes, Yogaraj Gugulu removes Vata from the nervomuscular system. Bottom line is, the dryness in our body is supposed to be in the colon. Similarly, the Pitta in our body is supposed to be in the stomach. The Kapha in our body, the moisture, extra moisture, is supposed to be in the lungs. That is how it's supposed to be. But what happens is, because of the wrong living habits, wrong food, etc., not having enough sleep, stress, all these reasons, what happens is Kapha goes to other places, Pitta goes to other places, Vata goes to other places. So the dryness which is supposed to be in the colon, so that basically ends up being distributed to various parts of the body. So the nerves and the muscles, they end up getting that dryness. They are dry. The excess air goes there and they are dry. So to remove them, you basically use various herbs. So Yogaraj Gugulu will remove air from the nervomuscular system. It will make it more moist, more humid. The other thing that can be done is there are some oils like Mahanarayan Thailam. Those oils can be used to massage the knees. You can basically apply the oil, apply a lot of oil and let it soak. So when the oil gets in, it has ashwagandha and a few other important herbs which are good for Vata. Let us see the Antardasha running right now. So Venus Antardasha ran recently. That could be a very bad Antardasha because he is also the 10th Lord in the 6th house. So 6th Lord and the planet in the 6th house. So 2006 to 2009 was particularly a bad period. And right now Sun Antardasha is running. He is the Lagna Lord. So this has some, actually this is also over. Right now Moon is running. And Moon is the 12th Lord. So he doesn't really show relief from this problem. Then Mars will come. So it seems to be like this problem will persist for a while. Moreover, Saturn Dasha is running. So it's unlikely that there will be any kind of relief in the Saturn Antardasha. So this problem may continue for a while. So for relief, you can't get rid of it, but for some relief, take some Ayurvedic medicines, etc. And will it get worse? Unlikely. Even though Saturn Dasha is running, the Saturn Antardasha and the Venus Antardasha which ran earlier are the particularly bad Antardashas. The next Antardashas that are coming are not really that bad. So things may not become much worse. Now let's look at the Trimshamsa. How is, in the Trimshamsa, how are Saturn and Venus? How is Saturn? Saturn is the Badhaka Lord in Trimshamsa. See, the thing is, even if he is badly placed in the Rashi chart, if he is well placed in the Trimshamsa, if he doesn't show bad things in the Trimshamsa, he won't give serious suffering. So we have to look at the Trimshamsa. In Trimshamsa, Saturn is he's in the 8th house. Venus is in the 7th house, but Saturn is in the 8th house. So he is the Badhaka Lord in the 8th house. Badhaka Lord in the 8th house. If there is a link between Badhaka, 8th and 6th, these three factors, it will be quite bad. So Badhaka Lord in the 8th house, that too in a very evil sign, Scorpio. Scorpio is a very evil sign. So he is in a very evil sign, he is the Badhaka Lord, he is a malefic planet, he is a Papagraha, he is a Badhaka Lord, and he is in 8th house. So things are quite bad. See, they are quite bad. So what can we say? So what it means is, during the Saturn Dasha, there will be serious suffering. The person will suffer very seriously. So whatever knee problem or other problems that may be visible in the Rashi chart, their magnitude will be quite intense based on the Trimshamsa. It will be a very serious problem. But again, the key is, Venus is not really standing out. It is Saturn who is standing out. Saturn is standing out and Scorpio, that is a fiery sign. So fire and dry, so it's basically hot and dry conditions in the knees. So it's basically dryness that needs to be addressed. Now let's basically see the overall constitution, physical constitution. Go back to the planetary aspect evaluation based on D1. Planetary aspect evaluation based on D1. Okay. The Lagna is owned by, okay, very good. Lagna is owned by Sun. He is in a fiery sign. Right? Lagna is owned by Sun, a fiery planet, he is in a fiery sign. So fire is clearly there. Another thing is Mars has 98% aspect on Lagna. So again fire. Mars is also fire. Right? But in addition, Saturn has 94% aspect on Lagna. Venus has 92% aspect on Lagna. Right? So Venus and Saturn also have a very strong aspect. And Venus shows Kapha. Saturn shows Vata. So all the influences are there. But what about Rahu? Rahu has 100% aspect. So Saturn and Rahu are both aspecting. So because of Saturn and Rahu aspect, Vata is stronger than Kapha. So, but Pitta is even stronger. Lagna is owned by Sun in a fiery sign, Mars is aspecting, almost full aspect. So, Pitta very strong, Vata moderate, Kapha is also there. So basically, she's a Tridoshi person. Some people have only one dosha dominant. Because Venus has a very strong aspect on Lagna, there is also Kapha. Now let us do one more thing. Let us look at the aspects on Lagna Lord Sun. Lagna Lord Sun is in a fiery sign and he is aspected by Moon 57%. So nothing really more than 3/4% aspect. 3/4 aspect nobody has. So let's ignore the aspect on Sun. Now let's look at Moon. What are the influences on Moon? Who is aspecting Moon? Jupiter has 86% aspect. So at the mental level, mental constitution is Kapha. Moon is mind. So, mentally the constitution is Kapha, means very relatively stable or could even be lazy. So that is the constitution. But physically the constitution is very strongly Pitta Vata and some Kapha. So I will say 60-65% Pitta, 20-25% Vata and remaining Kapha. So that's basically the constitution. So mostly Pitta person, very hard body and basically like spices but should stay away from spices and lot of dryness in the body. So hot and dry is the description of the body, not lot of moisture. So what should she do? She should stay away from spicy food. Unfortunately, such a chart very likely to love spices.
It will never stay away from.
Yeah, but this is, I'm telling you, it's poison for her.
Yes.
Unfortunately, people for whom spices are good, like Kapha people, they hate spices. They want mild food. And unfortunately, for them, spices are good. And for people for whom spices are like poison, they love spices. This is how God creates people. But I'm telling her, this is a particularly strong Pitta chart. So staying away from all spice is very good for her. No chilies, no pepper. What she can have for spices in her food is dhania, jeera, somf. These are the ones. These are the three that are good for her. Dhania, the coriander seed, cumin seed and fennel seed. Mix them in equal proportions and maybe put a little cinnamon if she wants. That is okay, but that is also not that good. So stay away from cloves, stay away from pepper, stay away from chili definitely. Red chili particularly. If at all she wants to taste some chili, go for green chili, but not red chili. Red chili is poison. No mustard seeds. Andhra people eat a lot of avakaya which has mustard seeds. Avakaya is a pickle made by soaking mangoes in mustard seed powder and red chili powder. Red chili is Pitta, it increases heat. Mustard seed increases heat. And mango increases heat. So it's a triple Pitta combination. It's terrible. It's very bad for her. So stay away from those and go for these things that I mentioned. And another thing is dhania, the dhania green, the coriander greens or cilantro as called in US. Those are very good for her. If she can make a habit of drinking buttermilk after every meal with cilantro, chopped cilantro thrown in, that will be very good for her. That is like amruta for her. But the thing is, if she is doing that and also eating a lot of avakaya in the food, it won't help. It's basically like you are taking poison and amruta together. They will cancel each other. Or poison may still remain. So stay away from spices. That is all I can say. Another thing she can try is there is a herb called licorice. It's also called Yashti Madhu. In the Indian stores it may be available as Jesk Madh. It may be or Jet Madh. It may be some variation of Yashti Madhu. The Sanskrit name is Yashti Madhu, means the stick of honey. It's basically, it looks like sticks or roots and it looks brown, light brown in color, and if you eat it, it is very sweet. Actually in the 70s, in Europe and Australia, they used to make chocolate with licorice instead of sugar. So it used to be used as a sugar substitute in chocolates and other sweets. And even here now in some specialty stores you can get licorice sweets. So anyway, but this is an Ayurvedic herb. It is very soothing and all the inflammation in the body. The thing is, not only dryness, there may be some inflammation. Vata shows dryness and Pitta shows inflammation, basically swelling, etc. So there may be both dryness and swelling and inflammation. So to soothe inflammation in the body, licorice is a very good herb. So licorice powder, you can get it in Indian store or just get Jet mud powder or Jeshti mud powder or Esti mud powder or licorice powder. So get it, and get fennel seed, and one thing I can suggest is put a mix fennel seeds and licorice in water, boil it, and then basically filter it and drink the water. Let it stay for an hour, then filter it and then drink the water. Pardon me? Fennel seeds is cooling, very cooling. So fennel seed and licorice water. Huh?
What are they?
What?
What does it mean by fennel seed?
What is the?
Like what is in the translation of fennel?
Oh, translation in Telugu or Hindi we call it somf. You know somf, right?
Yeah.
The one that we eat after meal. That is fennel seeds in English. So that and licorice, that combination if you basically take with a warm water, and put a pinch of turmeric so that it's not really very cooling. Some turmeric will heat. So this thing is very cooling. So to balance it, put a pinch of turmeric. So take that as a tea basically. If you want for taste, you can put sugar. But licorice itself is sweet. So this will not taste bad. So if you take this every now and then, that will basically help. Similarly, the other thing that can be done is take Navratan oil or just sesame oil. Not Navratan, what I meant is Mahanarayan Tailam. Either Mahanarayan Tailam or sesame oil itself. What you can do is heat the oil with some licorice, some ashwagandha and some fennel seeds thrown in. Ashwagandha is anti-vata and fennel seeds and licorice are soothing. Anti-vata, anti-pitta. Basically because she has both pitta and vata, you have to use things that soothe both pitta and vata. Normally the thing is vata is cool and dry. Pitta is hot. So for decreasing hot, for pitta, what you use cool substances, cooling substances. For vata, because it is cool and dry, you give things that are heating. But the problem here is it's not just cool and dry, it is hot and dry. So the thing is you need herbs which are not really cooling, because if it is cooling then vata will be in trouble. At the same time it's not heating. So it's medium, it's neither heating nor cooling, it is neutral and it should be moisturizing. Because vata itself is dry, when heat is also joined, it is basically like you have a dry weather and in addition you have a heater running. So it becomes even drier. So when the weather is dry and you have the heater running, it becomes further dry. So you need extra moisturizer. So that's basically where I am getting at. So fennel seeds, licorice, this kind of really cooling and moisturizing things are really needed. So what you do is put some licorice and put some fennel seeds in oil, heat it, and then soak it for a few days. After it is heated, leave it for a few days. And then basically heat it again, leave it for a few days. Like that, do for a few days, a week, and then filter it out, and that oil will have some fennel and licorice absorbed in it. So use that oil on the knees to massage. So that licorice and the fennel seed will get into the knees. So this kind of relief can be used to bring some relief to the knees. And of course, and what I am saying is some tips of the iceberg. You can basically go to a proper Ayurvedic doctor, especially if they live in India, and they can help you. Okay? But the thing is, very likely, Ayurvedic doctors, the problem is they have to go through pulse and they have to detect whether it's a pitta, vata, kapha, what kind of problem it is. Based on the symptoms, you can guess to some extent, but you really need thorough diagnosis. And from astrology, we know that it's probably a vata problem with some pitta in it. What can be the propitiation for this? What propitiation can she do? What any ideas? Saturn. Saturn is the key. So Bhasti is actually Shani mantra itself. Shanno Devi Rakshitaya. That is a powerful mantra from Atharvaveda. Usually for remedies, Rigveda mantras are also good, but when Atharvaveda mantras are suggested by Rishis, they work very nicely. Atharvaveda mantras are particularly tuned for prayoga, for results. So there is an Atharvaveda mantra for Shani that is given by Parasara. Shanno Devi Ravishta Apo Bhavantu Pyateye Samyor Apisthantana. I'll just chant it. Om Shanno Devi Ravishta Apo Bhavantu Pyateye Samyor Apisthantana. So that is the mantra. That is the mantra from Atharvaveda for Shani. So that mantra is very, very, very useful. So that mantra can be learnt and chanted, and if the swaras are problematic and that mantra can't be chanted, then Shani is Ashtodha Sanam Stotram, Shanashitaya Shantaya Sarvabhishtapadayane Saranya Varinyaya Sarveshaya Namo Namaha, like that 108 names of Saturn are given. That is very powerful in Kali Yuga. The other one that can be read is Konas Shanashitra Mandaha Chaya Hridaya Nandanaha Matanja Sahasori Pasangi Grahanayakaha Abhyahmana Kurvakarma Nera Vastranjana Jyotish Krishno Dhammaja Shantaha Shkodara Varapradaha. These are the 16 names of Saturn. So this was mentioned in when Dasharatha goes to Saturn, in the story this is mentioned. He mentioned that if you read these 16 names, all your problems will be gone. Of course, it doesn't work so easily in Kali Yuga, but if you keep doing these names, this can be helpful. So one of these can be read. Another thing is actually, because this is a physical problem, even Kavacha can be helpful. Shani Kavacham. So either Shani Kavacham or Shani Ashtottaram or Shani Shodhanama Stotram. You can actually go to my website vedicastrology.org/homam or tinyurl.com/homam. You can go there and you can download Saturn Shani Homam manual. In the manual there are several options given. For Shani Homam, for the main course, you can have several mantras. So for the Pradhana Homam, several options were suggested. You can take one of them that you like and your mother can just chant those. Actually, Homam can also be done to Shani. And if she wants to just do chanting, then pick one of those mantras and chant those mantras. So that will be the best. So directly praying to Shani will be good. The other option is, because Shani is with Mars, and he is a Martian sign in Sanshamsha. For relief from the Saturnine problem, Hanuman can be worshipped. So that is the other option, Hanuman Chalisa. That is actually very good too. So either Saturn himself directly or Hanuman Chalisa. These are what I suggest for relief from the health problem. Any other questions, any other comments?
She wanted you to see her T20s and such something.
I saw it. Yeah. So what do you guys think about the D20? Vimshamsha, the chart of spirituality. See, the Lagna is right on the border. Right? It could be Aquarius or Pisces. So we can't really confidently say anything. It could be Aquarius or it could be Pisces. Huh? Yeah, I mean, it's too much on the border. There's not really much you can say. Do you know anything about her spiritual life? Like, does she have a guru? Does she like this or that, this card or that card, family card? If you know anything, maybe we can help.
She does a lot of Lalita.
She does a lot of Lalita Sahasranam.
Amar and...
Okay, she is attached to Lalita, our mother. Sattvic.
Very sattvic form.
Gentle forms of the mother, not the Raudra forms. Okay?
And
anything else? Family deity, in her family, she was on her paternal side. You don't know? You don't know, or does she not know?
I don't know, sir. She...
Okay.
For me, she always used to...
okay, this may be right. The thing is, if the fifth house, if the Pisces is the Lagna, then the thing is, fifth lord moon is still with Mercury. Moon-Mercury combination can show Lalita. Right? A starting form of the Divine Mother. But Rahu Ketu in that sign, in Cancer, that would have shown some Ugra form also. But the thing is, if you take Aquarius as the Lagna, then the fifth house, the fifth lord Mercury is in the fifth house. And he is with Moon. So, very likely, very sattvic form of the Divine Mother. Like Saraswati, Mercury can show Saraswati, or Moon can show Lalita, Parvati, Uma, Gauri, this kind of forms. So, given that she is attached to Lalita Sahasranama Stotram, or Lalita Varsha, or Sri Vidya, all these things, that shows that Aquarius is probably right. Okay, so we'll after all we'll see it. So, what do you think of this chart? What do you guys say? Saturn is the Lagna Lord in the 8th house, right? Saturn is the Lagna Lord in the 8th house, and he is exalted. Lagna Lord's exaltation is good, right? Lagna Lord's exaltation basically gives strength in the chart. Basically, there is spiritual potential. Lagna in spiritual chart, the chart of spirituality T20, is your spiritual potential, is your spiritual self. So Lagna Lord being in the 8th house shows somebody who is workaholic or somebody who can spend a lot of time on pujas. Some people, if you tell them do so-and-so puja, they can do for 5 minutes or maybe 10 minutes. Anything above it, why that long? They can't sit for that long. But somebody with Lagna Lord in the 8th house, if she needs to do a puja for a couple of hours or an hour, she can sit down for an hour, couple of hours and have patience basically. Discipline and patience is there. So that is first thing that we can say. Based on, moreover, Saturnine Lagna. Such people are usually relatively patient. So some patience is there as far as spirituality is concerned. And the 5th Lord is in the 5th house, Mercury, right? Actually he is in the 4th house, but 5th Lord is in one sign. So strength of the 5th Lord will mean devotion. So the person has a lot of devotion. 5th house is the house of devotion. So very devoted. So she basically following rules, having rules, following rules. When you do this puja, you should follow these rules, you should take bath, your surroundings should be clean, like that basically, following all the rules basically strictly. That will be there. With the Saturn and Mercury influence, what it means is the person will be very strict and very patient and very, very devoted. Now, what else can you say? What are the influences on the Lagna? Let's see. Let's look at the planetary aspects. Lagna in D20 is aspected by Venus mostly. Venus has 93% aspect, but Jupiter has 77% aspect. So main aspects are by Venus and Jupiter on Lagna. So Venus and Jupiter are aspecting Lagna. What does that mean? Venus is the 9th Lord. Venus is the 9th Lord of organized religion and dharma. So he is aspecting Lagna. And his aspect is the strongest aspect. So she is very dharmic. Some people are spiritual, but the thing is they don't like all the rituals, etc. If the 9th Lord is aspecting Lagna very closely, she will be ritualistic. She can do a lot of rituals, etc. She will be ritual minded. And what about Jupiter? Jupiter is the 2nd and 11th Lord. What does that mean? 2nd and 11th Lord? What does 2nd and 11th show in Chamsa?
Mantra.
No, mantra is 5th house. Second is the house of family. 11th is the house of friends. So the thing is when the spiritual activities of the person will be the involvement of family and friends in the spiritual activities of the person. That is what Jupiter shows. That is what 2nd and 11th Lord shows. So his aspect on the Lagna is somebody who likes to do with friends, somebody who likes to do with family. So basically somebody either when she does sadhana she is thinking of friends and family, or she wants family to be with her when she does puja. Okay, let's do this puja, come sit, like that basically, that kind of attitude, not basically isolated or I'll just do it, this is my sadhana, I don't care if you come or not that kind of person. Thinks about the family and thinks about the friends. Okay, what is the potential, what is the outlook for this person? Let's go to Drikdasha and Rashi chart. Drikdasha, go to Rashi Dashas, go to Drikdasha. Dasha running right now is that of Libra. Actually, this is a very good Dasha. Why? If you take the 5th house from Libra as Lagna, because Libra, the Dasha sign, is the progression of the 9th house. Progress 9th house is in Libra. So progress 1st house is in Aquarius. So taking Aquarius as Lagna in this Rashi chart, a bunch of planets are in the 12th house. So that is conducive to, including the Lagna Lord, that is conducive to experiences or detachment. So for developing some kind of detachment, the current Dasha is very good, 2010 to 2017. In these 7 years, she can develop a good level of detachment. So this is a good period for doing intense sadhana. So So good luck to her. We don't really have to see much else. This Dasha is likely to basically be the peak in her spiritual life. So all the best to her. And by the way, actually, let's suggest one thing. Is Lalita worship good for her or does she need somebody else? Go to Vimshamsha. Saturn is the Atmakaraka. Take the 12th house from Saturn. Right? Anybody expecting it? Probably Mercury Moon. We don't know for sure. Actually, let's look at the longitude, divisional longitudes. D20 Saturn is at 15 degrees. So we want 15 degrees Virgo, 1543 Virgo, we want aspect on it. And Mars is at 15 Taurus, he has half aspect. Moon is at 1034 and Mercury is at 17 Gemini. Okay, both Moon and Mercury have almost 75% aspect. So Moon and Mercury have a strong aspect on the 12th from Atmakaraka. Moreover, they are in the 9th from Atmakaraka. They are the Dharma Devatas. So 9th from Atmakaraka having aspect on the 12th from Atmakaraka. Moreover, Mercury is the lord of that and Moon is with him. So again, the same planets, Moon and Mercury are standing out. So what do they show, Moon and Mercury? Mercury can show actually Vishnu also. Mercury can show, when he is in Moon sign, he can show Vishnu. But when he is with Moon, basically if Moon dominates, it can show Lalita. So or Durga, Parvati. Not Durga, Parvati. So either Parvati or Lalita as she is doing, or Vishnu. These are the two possibilities. And if it is Vishnu, Mercury with Moon can show Krishna. So either, another form is Mercury can show Saraswati. So Saraswati, Lalita, so if she is already in Srivijayopasana, that is fine. That is a good line for her. The other possibility is augmenting it with Vishnu Sahasranama. That is the other possibility. But she is on the right path. She doesn't need like any Chandi Saptati or this Durga Saptati or any other sadhanas. This is enough for her. Srivijayopasana is enough for her. If at all, Vishnu basically may be suggested. That's all. So good, she is on the right path and she will have some experiences in the next 7 years. So all the best to her. Okay. With that I end the class today. Om Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Dharmika Jana Sukhino Bhavantu Yavad Bhumandale Sanatana Dharmo Vardhatu Visheshatah Bhartakhande Om Shanti